Yeah.
That's probably not that witty.
No, I'm not.
It works though. It happens.
I don't know how witty we can be. We witty through the whole game, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't think shit would have started it off though. I take it away, kids. You got it.
You're right.
Thank you.
Hey,
we back. We got Barcott in the house. What's going on, AB?
Nothing much, man. Just finally getting some a nice cool day. I think we're only 92 today.
Yo, I know. It's only like 90 out there.
After this, it's supposed to be back up to like 107, 110 on Monday. I'll enjoy the cool day today.
Man, that's what y'all dealing with? Oh my goodness.
But you got rain over there?
We were like
you got over
110, 112 all last week, man.
That shit was wild, bro. It was so hot.
I walked out there because I had, you just have to mow the lawn at some point in time.
Yeah.
And I was literally like, you talk about you walk in the house and you're losing your breath, like not like in a heat wave, a heat stroke, but you just walking, you realize as you're walking down the hallway, like, you're trying to get everything back under control in the AC. So like, it was the last week was, it was literally, Arizona heat. We were talking 112, 115 last week. It wasn't messing around.
Yeah. With the excess steam too to go with it, right? Yeah, it's just perpetually steamy. And I know what you're talking about. It's that pressure on your chest when you're just trying to breathe in. And you know how I've been having problems with regular human movements since I can't walk anymore.
Yeah,
so
we all saw
breathing. Yeah, I could have just imagined. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, yeah, you
lack of breath.
Yep, you absolutely understand. Like you take breathing for granted until all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it doesn't help that we're a little bit obese. Some of us are.
No, I'm
hard to breathe.
What are you talking about? I got to lose 10 pounds.
I'll tell you what. I'm so glad I golf with the golf cart because your boy, I'd have been dying over there. It was only like 97, but it felt good compared to the 110 from over here.
Yeah. You caught the warm days over here.
Yeah, it was warm over there too. And I was like, oh snap. But yeah, we got the golf cart and your boy's still the best putter in the world. I'm going to go ahead and take Tiger Woods' offer of 700 to 800 million that he left on the table.
Paying off.
Well, anonymous, that's what all the ladies say about Jason. He's good when it's short.
Yeah, he's nice with the
here
short
we
game.
go. Hey, let's go. Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that. You gotta have game someday, somehow, some way. But my putting game is on point. Your boy nailed like a 60-foot putt, and it wasn't the easiest hole in that world. Oh, bro, I'm telling you, I was on fire. I don't know if I did that in the Instagram post that I sent or not, but
I didn't even know that they had greens that were 60 feet from the hole.
That's what I'm saying. He's telling us it's a 60-foot.
Yeah, it was at least 60. Ask all of them out there.
I don't know about that. Either that or you were drunk and thought you were putting. You were like, coming out of the sandbox with the wedge.
Nope, I was solid. I was on point. But good time. Shout out to the Angel Man Syndrome and the Hindu Classic. It was a good time. They raised a lot of money, so good for them. And
that's what's up.
Thanks
man.
For the invite out there, Danny and Trent Henderson.
I'm sorry I couldn't make it, man. My body is failing me, man. I don't know what to tell anybody about any of this. I mean,
what'd you say? You're a pregame?
Yeah, man. I was a
game time decision.
I was a game time decision, man. I had to jump out there in pregame and give it a go and see if I could do it. And I really tried to. I hope somebody enjoyed my dinner, but man, I was happy to be able to give out and donate. Number one, I wanted to be able to come out and hang out with everybody too at the same time. But yeah, body failures. What are you gonna do? Chalk it up.
Yeah, I need that hip replacement on the anonymous big homie.
I mean, that might be the move, but they say, even old people say, you got to wait until both of them go and then do both of them at the same time. Man, I'm pretty sure athletes and whatnot will tell you that too, but they're making millions of dollars, so they'll get one done, get the other one done next year. It don't matter.
Yeah, I don't know if you do them at the same time. I think they have to go like back to back though. I think you get one done, the other one done.
Okay,
but in that same like year, 18-month time frame.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, why would they're gonna let you go and not be able to put no pressure on your legs at all, period. You basically would be bedridden. And that seems weird too.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine I coached with in baseball fed away years ago, and he had to have the knees replaced. And that was one, and then I think it was literally like he had to wait till the next spring. They wanted after because they wanted to give it some time and make sure that, okay, how good are you dealing with things on the new knee?
Yeah.
How's it work? Is it functioning? Do we need to go back in and clean things up? And then once it got, okay, we worked out all the kinks. Now we'll do the other knee. So it takes about 8 months, but big piece, like you said, put the weight on it. But then there's also all the other things that come up on the side. Or, do we got to go in there, clean stuff up, whatever. And then we'll do the other one. But yeah, I mean, you don't want to do one and then 10 years later do the other one. No.
No.
All right, well, stay tuned for the Knobs Big Homie's bedridden stint that he's going to be having here sometime in the near future.
Showing us the bedpans.
Hey, if they can get me right, I'll be like Steve Austin. And I ain't talking about Stone Cold. I'm talking about the $6 million man. I do that all day long too. I know y'all old enough to know what I'm talking about. I have the slow down music and everything when I be running. I'm trying to tell you, boy. $6 million man. Just piece me together.
Well, if you all are
$6 million doesn't go today.
Right, that $6 million they were shit. Couldn't even buy an Iron Man's glove.
40 years is a big difference.
You guys all tuning in right now. If you haven't noticed, we are the audio version of Sidney Dean and Billy Hoyle, baby.
In the house.
Welcome to the Sports Fix with Sticks and Knobs Big Homie and guest. And today we have Aaron Barcott. Welcome back, brother.
Fair.
Thank you.
Remember to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcast platform. Go to thisisfunner.com for more podcasts and online content. Grab some merch while you're there from the Funner family. Check us out on YouTube, Sports Fix with Sticks, and then Knobs Big Homie. Subscribe and smash that like button. Follow me on Twitter at Sticks015. Follow this guy, Knobs Big Homie, at homie_anonymous. Use that hashtag Sticks and Sports to talk some shit and join the conversations, baby, because we on there.
Yes, sir.
So,
hey, y'all want to get into a little something, man? Hey, but they're giving Brittany Griner 9 years in a Russian jail. How long is it going to take her to get out? I mean, now we're talking about like U.S. diplomacy and like global diplomacy situations now.
If I got that right, I think they said a couple of weeks ago part of it was Russia wanted to sentence her before I know we'd already made an offer in June, right? They wanted to give like the what was that guy, the famous war guy, the guns dealer. They're going to let him
Merchant of Death.
Yeah, Merchant of Death, which by the way, a lot of people got upset about. And I was like, if you look at his sentence, we're letting him walk in 5 years. So why not trade him out? Because he's walking anyway.
So I'm saying you're going to lose the player at the end of the year. Yeah.
So I do think that if I got that right from the news, is that the way things work in Russia, anyways, in terms of foreign policy, they want to be able to sentence it, get that victory, and then they start doing the behind the scenes negotiation stuff. So I think they wanted to really make sure they got their win in the public eye, and then
prove a point, say, hey, this was going to happen to you fools.
Yep. And then I think they needed that, and I think they needed that sentence. Not that they needed it, but that's how they work. Let's get the sentence done, and then we'll make the deal. Obviously, I think the woman should never have been arrested. I think it was all kind of political because it's just what was going on with our stance on the war in Ukraine. They wanted to make an example.
But y'all know that other countries care about weed and drugs way heavier than we do, and we thought that we were like war on drugs, right? They don't want nothing. They don't want nothing nowhere around here.
I agree with all that, and I agree with the whole stance that when we go to other countries, we have to respect their laws. I agree with that 1,000%. But that's not her first year in Russia, and she's been smoking weed since at least at Baylor. So I'm sure that's not the first. My point is that's not the first time she's gone through that airport with those extra little vials in there for her pen. So I'm just thinking it's the first time they actually searched her bag, because they had to search her bag to find it. It wasn't like, they saw her doing stuff. So my thinking is she's an American that got picked out because of what's going on with our stance on the war in Ukraine, because she's been going there for 6-7 years now playing in Russia.
Professional.
Right. So my point is that's not the first time she's walked through that airport with the pen extra stuff in her bags. And it's just the first time they chose to catch her because it's the first time they've been having some diplomatic issues. Not the first time, but
it's a little tampering. It's tampering.
It is.
It's tampering. Now, they trying to get that trade force of trade for the merchant of debt.
Should she have been smart enough not to look at it, the situation, and go, this is probably the year I shouldn't do this?
Yeah.
Yes. But at the same time, we all know it, and that's why we've been young and dumb too. If I've been able to do this every single year for 6-7 years, I'm going to give it a shot until you catch me. And
you make it feel normal. I'm gonna think it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. And so
until you get set up.
Yeah, exactly. And she did. They were waiting. It was. I remember when Snoop got busted for weed in Europe somewhere. It's like you knew that cat was going to have it on him. That's why you searched his bags. So Russia saw her walking there, like, oh yeah, we know her. We know she's going to have something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so Jason's right. It was a little bit of a setup. Again, you got to be a little bit more aware of what's going on in the international world, but I get it. I would have probably made the same mistake if I'd been allowed to do it for 6 or 7 straight years. But yeah, she's got to come home. And I think today's sentence was just them getting everything out of their system, and now they'll start to negotiate. Because they'll take that merchant of death back in a heartbeat. They could use him in Ukraine right now. I'm sure they'll tell you that. They'll take him back in a heartbeat. And I'm not trying to be funny about it. I'm not. But you know, when there's a situation, they'll take him in a heartbeat. 100%.
No doubt. Anything else you boys want to touch on? Well, besides the $700-800 million that Tiger Woods left on the table to go join the Live Golf Tour, that they could offer me I don't know, cool $100 million, and I'd be in there in a heartbeat. But I did see, I don't know if you guys saw the tweet from old Charlie Woods, though. Said that Liv already offered him $69 million. He said, "No, my dad's got twice that much, and broad's waiting for me."
Oh,
I'm sure it was an edited version, but
yeah, no. He need to go ahead and take the money. Now, see, that would be smart on him to go get this money and branch out on his own. Now, that could be a stack that he could just have of his own that's there. And he could just go do that, go get that money. If I was Tiger Woods, I'm telling my son, young Chuck, go get that paper real quick. Bring that back over here. I'm going to show you how to, mix this up, and we're going to bubble with it. And at the same time, you know how everybody, all these young people is worried about brands. They love brands. So now next thing you know, little Chuck Woods is brand. I'm trying to tell you, it's mathematics. They should have went.
I'm sure it was like a meme account that was edited, but still, I thought it was pretty funny that they somehow.
I don't want them to come up kidnapped neither, because
you know what I'm
saying. You never know.
Yeah. I say this: Tiger's got a brand, so he can't take it. I get that, because Tiger. I think we all knew Tiger would take it if it weren't for his branding and the fact that he's already made that kind of money already. He's already made that paper. But he can't. He knew, Nike. That puts Nike in a bad spot. If I do this, it puts other,
all the sponsors and his
I get Tiger
name and his brand.
But I'm kind of on the same level with Colin Cowherd on this one, man. You can't get mad. You can't get mad at golfers for taking this money.
No,
when the U.S. government still negotiates. So I don't want to hear about people talking about, their history and human rights. We all know the Saudis have a terrible record in human rights, and I understand that. But you can't blame golfers. It's not their job to do, international diplomacy. The U.S. government literally just went and made a gas deal 2 weeks ago with Saudi to get our gas prices down.
Come on, dog.
If Biden can go down there and say, "Hey, you want to have lower gas prices? You want China to get out of the cell phone game?
China.
That's the two things he did with Saudi. So if we just went there to negotiate
economics,
exactly, you can't expect your golfers to do that, right? Why do we hold golfers to a level where you shouldn't go there for $100 million when we just made deals for cell phones and gas prices? So I mean, why would if America's going to make gas prices, cell phone deals with the Saudis? Wild. If a golfer gets, hey, they give me $600 million. Hell yeah, why not? You know?
Hey, bro, see that thing that you just said.
Don't count other people's money, baby.
I've been watching way too much Bloomberg, and everything that you just said is stuff that I'd be hearing every single day, bro. I'm gonna tell y'all something wild that's way off topic that I just heard the other day. Okay, since we forgot about the good old "Made in the USA" tag, right? And then we start doing all of that and shipping out everything to where everything is manufactured everywhere else. The biggest benefactor of us doing that has been China. And in that same period of time, the US went from having the strongest middle class in the world to having the one of the weakest middle classes in the world. And meanwhile, China, who has the largest number of people in the middle class, now has the largest middle class in the world because they're over there working on everything that needs to get on a ship to get here. Your desk, G, your shoes, G, your hat, your fibers, your couch, everything, your electronics is coming from the big red nation over there, and they over there silent making shots. This is way off topic, but I'm trying to tell you, I'm feeling this one right here. We could go on this one on some straight Bloomberg, because my wife is like, why are you watching this channel now? I'm telling you, watch how money move, and you'll understand how you're affected every single day, because there are people in different countries across the way, you know what I'm saying, or not too far from us. You might think it's far, but we share this place with them, and they're doing the same cyclical set of events that are affecting everybody. Global economics. Get your global economics together.
And so that's, and again, so Jason will get mad at this, and we'll end this right here, I guess. But that's exactly why he went there. You go to Saudi Arabia, you get crude oil for gas. But there's a reason he threw in cell phone parts and cell phone technology, so we can cripple China a little bit. So that was kind of a shot, shot fired at China, that we're going to take away something while we fix our gas prices at the same time. So you're right. You're right. It's we don't produce. We're a consumer nation now. So,
straight up.
And the Pasco's finest basketball coach of all, best basketball coach of all time, women's basketball coach of all time, and current teacher. So he's got a lot of knowledge.
I do teach government, so
yeah.
Hey,
see,
right there.
Like to know. All right, fellas, let's get into it. So everybody out there, while you're listening, we change this up a little bit. So today we are going to go over these things. Excuse me. We got the first one we're going to hit is the whole Miami Dolphins story. How close was ABH to being right about Brady?
Pretty right.
The GOAT, Peyton Manning, the other GOAT, and then meeting in Miami. Also, we will hit the NFL and everything going around training camp stories. And we will close out MLB today. So a little 3 topics. We're going to keep it simple for you all out there, and for us. So we'll see. But first, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Deshawn Watson situation.
You got to, right? Look, you know how much I love stuff that has a lot of legs to it, right? Especially when it's like sideline stuff. Especially when it's sideline stuff. Okay, so the basis of what happened this week, NFL hit Deshaun Watson with 6-game suspension. Matter of fact, check that.
Not the NFL.
Hold on. That's where we go. There we go. Check that. Okay, rewind. An independent arbiter, Sue Anderson, after reviewing all the findings, and saying a whole bunch of stuff in there too, saying that basically he did it. Basically, is what her word said.
She said Deshaun Watson was guilty of everything the NFL said.
Oh, straight up,
and worse, because she said he showed zero remorse and no want to apologize. He literally said in one of the interviews and told her, "I don't know why I'm here answering questions."
Look, one of the joints that were quoted in there that I loved on there was nonviolent sexual misconduct. Okay, so this now creates a whole nother lane now. They done shaved off a piece of another piece to create another piece. And so now we doubling back now. They should have told the old girl back. They should have told her. Shouldn't they have told her, hey, look, before we've given out Josh Gordon this, we've given out Ezekiel Elliott this. We gave Big Ben this back in the day. Now take the case and read it and tell us what you think after you do all of that, right?
Well, how does she come up with like her paperwork on her findings doesn't match up to her suspension that she
didn't
recommended.
Get the grid. She didn't get the guide. It's like A, B, C, and D, like grades. She didn't get the guide. She didn't know where it was supposed to fall.
You bet on NFL games, you get a whole year. You kick somebody in an elevator, you get 6 to 8 games or whatever.
But what homie just said is correct. She even said it. And that's why the NFL is going to win this appeal. I don't know how long the appeal is going to take once, the NFLPA tries to take it to court, but the NFL will win this.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the NFL just once you get a target on your back in the NFL, they just win. Ask Tom Brady.
Right, and then now they're hiring this other judge or whatever to do it, Peter Harvey or whatever his name is.
Well, it's better. That's better than Goodell, though. Good, it would shuffle.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But isn't it all not me? Isn't it all going to boil back down to him though? He's his designee or whatever the hell.
But he might not like this guy's story either.
That's the CBA. So the players can't complain because guess what? It's still in. The only thing the CBA said was the process goes from Goodell being judge, jury, executioner.
End all be all.
We now have an arbiter.
Yeah.
And then if Goodell doesn't like it, then he can sue, and then he gets to be judge, jury, executioner. He still has final say.
Well, what I don't understand is why he's taking this other step to have this other designee to do it. When he's going to end up he's going to end up doing what he wants anyways, right?
No, he told the designee. He told the designee what he wants done.
Oh, he told the designee. Okay.
That's
he actually.
He's not part of the.
He gets to kill 2 stones with this bullet with the second designee. So number one is to get back to why she came up with this thing. When it comes to sexual assault, they have never suspended a player for more than 6 games over sexual assault. Now, Silas Red, as a running back 5 years ago in the NFL, was like a third stringer, got popped for weed, suspended all 16 games. So they've established that. The NFL has never established Ray Rice was a physical assault. That was domestic violence. They've never suspended somebody more. So the Ezekiel Elliott, even though it was 1 or 2 girls, and my man Deshawn's got 24 girls, and we know there's probably another 20 that didn't file. So we're not. Let's be honest. There's more than 20 out there. That's why she called him. She literally in her thing called him a predator. Yeah. In her final decision, she says he is a predator.
She said wild stuff. He did.
And he is. He violated every rule you have. But because she's just an arbitrator. She doesn't get to make rules. When arbitrators go through things in law, they can only go by what the established rules are. She doesn't get to change NFL rules. So when she came to 6 games, it's because that's what Big Ben got. That's what Ezekiel Elliott got. You've never given a sexual predator or sexual assault guy more than 6 games. I can't give him more than 6 games because I can only go with what you've done.
So she only got
for you.
She didn't consider weed.
What it was. She
didn't do a
can't write your rules for you. Yeah, exactly. And that's where the NFL failed. And now what the NFL is going to do when they sue, they're going to establish. Because that's what she basically wrote this up for the NFL to appeal on purpose. And now they're going to make a new establishment. You sexually assault somebody, the level is now here. Whatever that level is, it's not going to be 6 games.
Yeah, just like they did with the gambling.
Yeah, I think they're going to give them probably 12. I don't think they'll go. I know they want a year, but I think with them, I think they'll negotiate to 12 because I don't think the NFLPA will sue if he gets to play this year.
It's going to be double digits. I think it'll be double digits because that second digit means something.
Yeah. Well, that second digit, and that's another thing that some other people talked about. There were sports gamblers that I watch. You look at the first 6 games, without Deshawn Watson, they could go 4-2.
Right.
And when he comes back and by the way, he can come back and practice week 4 to get ready for week 7. They would still be on national TV and still be in the playoff hunt.
Yeah.
If he misses 10 or more, now their schedule gets funky because now they've got to go play Cincinnati. They've got to go play Baltimore. They've got to play some other people. And then they're going to lose enough games because you know how the NFL does their TV schedule. If you're not viable, we'll remove you. So if they get to 10 to 12 games, it actually hurts the Cleveland Browns owners because now they come off national TV. Because now your schedule gets tough enough after game 7, 8, 9, 10 that by week 12 you're probably 5-7, and you're no longer viable in that tough NFC.
Yeah, because they got if the way it's sitting right now, they would have a week 7 matchup with the Ravens.
Yeah,
the Ravens in week 7. So then after that is what you're talking about is when they don't have any division games in that first half of the season except for I'll look before.
Maybe like a Pittsburgh. I think they have Pittsburgh.
I think it might be Pittsburgh. Yeah. And we know the story with Pittsburgh. But then after you get past that 7 matchup with the Ravens, that's when it starts to get a little tight. Because you got the Browns right after that, and then the Bills, and then the Browns again.
Right.
I mean, you got the Bengals. I'm sorry, my bad. The Bengals.
What are you talking about?
You got Bengals. So you go Ravens, Bengals, Bills, Bengals. That's 4 legit teams.
Exactly.
So you're running back. You know what? This is no offense to you guys, because we need. I'm glad it's almost football season because we need Rudy back on here, the Cleveland Browns insider, the hardcore dog pound fan who takes his family to the dog pound and sits his boys in his kids there. So sit in the dog pound. We need that insider information. So I'm glad it's almost football season. Get him back in here. We're gonna have to get him on here for the pre-show. So we'll get him back on here for sure. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to find out where quote unquote Goodell's designee takes this, because everybody needs to know the verdict sooner or later. Is there a time frame that they have on this? I haven't seen one yet
for the appeal situation.
No. Yeah. Is this going to be another year-long process? So
see, that's what I'm saying. Is he going to be playing in the 6 process?
And then does he get a serve?
So what's going to happen? What's going to happen is
end up playing week 1 and 2, and then they decide.
It's going to be like the Deflategate, where they're going to have to file for injunctions. Remember that? Because Tom Brady fought that all the way up. I mean, Tom Brady actually got that thing within one court level, the Supreme Court. So what they're gonna have to do is file an injunction and say he can't play while we do this. That's what and they did that to Tom Brady before that came down. We're gonna file injunctions. We're gonna have to say he can't be out there while we fight this, whatever. And that's where they're gonna go with that, because he's gonna appeal it, and technically on appeal he should be able to play. They're gonna ask a judge. They're gonna ask a judge to file an injunction, extend the ban, because they're going to say we already know he's out 6 weeks. That's already a no. We believe we're going to extend it. So they're going to file an injunction and ask the judge to honor the 6 weeks ban while they fight this in court. And he's going to, so that's going to be the whole fight. And the judge will likely say, he's out 6 weeks while we fight this, because that's what the judge
will tell you.
He's not going to overturn. He can't start week 1.
Yeah, they're going to say that judge is not going to overturn the other judge's findings. They're going to, when the NFLPA appeals it, then they're going to the court. The NFL is going to say, we want an injunction, sit him for 6 weeks while we argue this out for weeks 7 through 12 or whatever it is. Now, the NFL still right now, they started off with, we want it indefinite, because what they want him to do, because he did not have any remorse or apology, they want him to seek psychological help. And then they want to do the Josh Gordon thing, where after your sentence, you come back, you go through an interview, and you at least got to be smart enough to lie to us and make us believe that you're sorry. But if you come in and do what you did in front of the judge and say, why am I here? We want the power to say you can't come back yet. You know what I'm saying? That's what the NFL's suing for. But I do believe they'll negotiate down from that. That's why I think this thing will stay out of the courts, because I do believe it'll stay out of court. I think they'll negotiate 12 games. And I think once the NFLPA gets 12, 13 games, as long as it's not a full season, they won't sue and this won't go to court. The one thing I do, and I want to throw this out, I saw this on Facebook yesterday, and I know it's been out there. People upset on the Deshaun side. Well, he already got suspended a year. And I'm like, whoa. Deshaun chose to sit last year. That was his choice. That had nothing to do with this court case. That had nothing to do with these. He said that he didn't want to play for Houston, and Houston cut him that check while he sat. So when people say, well, we're going to suspend him for another year, this is not the Bauer situation where you got suspended for a year, and then they came back and suspended you 2 more. He told the Texans, I'm not coming to work. And the Texans still paid him, so he got a full check to sit at home. That had nothing to do with this. That just had to do with him not wanting to be in Houston. So last year, I heard that a whole bunch yesterday. Man, why would they want to give him more time when he just already missed a year? That was his choice. He could have played last year. That was his call. So
it was situational too. But I know y'all heard though. But see how sweet of a deal that he cut by moving to the Browns and re-upping and renegotiating this deal. This
$1 million
deal is only. This thing is only about to be worth what? Even at 6 games, it's only worth what?
At 6 games, they said it was going to be. At 6 games, they said the fine would be like $380,000.
Yeah, $307,000. Okay, under the old deal, millions, brother.
Yeah. Under his Houston deal, it would have been millions. But
millions.
they backloaded the contract. Yep.
Tell me that
the exact check next year. He's going to get like $75 million next year.
Cleveland front office, don't that make you want to go out and play for them right down now, don't it? That they'll look out for you like that? I mean, come on, man. I'm in some deep shit right here. Usually, cases I got. I'm in deep shit right here. I want to come. Okay. Oh, well, we want you. Well, I'm glad that you want me. Hey, would you do this thing for me real quick just so I could save a buck or two? You know what I mean? Like the commercials say, I need to save a buck or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
moving on from Baker was a mistake. I don't think Watson is gonna. We've talked about this before. I don't think that. I don't. Obviously, he has some issues going on in his head and his inside. But let's see. Yeah, he could play in preseason. I would be interested to see if he plays in preseason. But moving on from Baker was a mistake for the Browns. They had a good thing going, in my opinion, and this is only going to hurt them.
Why are you pumping them up?
Because you got Chubb.
Why are you pumping their head up like that?
You got all that.
He wasn't the guy, bro. Come on, dog. Why are you pumping his head up?
He's a better option than Deshaun is.
So
guarantee that.
Athletically,
it doesn't matter. Deshaun will never see the field. You could be playing for a championship right now.
I'm going to tell you right now. If you read some of the things that have come out since he's gone to Carolina, that wasn't just the ownership. There was no trust in the locker room. It's come out now that he and OBJ did not like each other. It's come out now that dudes in the locker room thought he was a clown. It was just not going to work. So I agree with what you're saying, that he's a better option than Jacoby Brissett for the next.
There we go. That's more like it. I would give you that.
The locker room didn't want him back. It was one of those things where not only did ownership, but I think ownership did some bad things by like saying they wanted an adult in the locker room, and then you go get Deshaun Watson. That looks really bad. I want an adult, and then you get a predator.
That's the kind of adult we like. Yes.
But at the same time, not only was ownership bashing him, the locker room didn't want him, man. So
I think it's a good change. It's definitely a good change for Baker. We can talk about this in a little bit too if we want.
He ain't gonna win that.
It's definitely a good change for Baker, but
he ain't gonna win that job. Don't matter.
But right now, with the shit going on with Watson, it's just like, how do you put your entire team and you want a leader at quarterback, right? But you want a leader that's actually going to be there from start to finish, not 6 games, 12 games later, no matter how bad you think.
He's leading right now. It's training camp. He's leading right now in arm extension exercises right now. And the slow jog for 15 yards, if that.
And by the way, I will say this. I've always, up until this came out a year ago or whatever it has been now, I've always been a Deshaun Watson fan. Clear back to Clemson. Especially see guy beat Alabama. I can't stand Alabama. As long as Alabama's getting beat, I'm rooting for you. But it's going to be he's going to need that 230 because you know what? Ain't nobody going to give him a dime outside of football. And so God bless him.
I never understood that Air Jordan football thing that Dabo Swinney put on him back in the day. I never understood that.
Yeah, where they called him
I think it was the Alabama situation. I mean, but that's a lot. Now he's nice. When Hopkins was there with him, he was nice. Oh yeah, he was real nice. And he had a desolate Texans team that after they got rid of Hopkins, moving. But that was it.
But don't forget, he threw for 5,000 yards without Hopkins. That first year Hopkins was gone. He threw for 5,000. He led the NFL with 5,000 yards.
They were moving.
And he had Brandon Cooks to throw to.
Exactly.
So he can get it done. Yeah. He can get it done. I mean, he's not Pat Mahomes. He's not those guys. He's not going to change your.
We haven't seen that yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could be if he wasn't such a fucking nutcase.
Well,
now,
no pun intended.
I don't feel bad.
Massage lotion off his hands.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for the guy. That would be a bad thing to say, but I do look at it as this is a guy that's never going to recover from this. We've seen this before when guys get to. Dudes are still pissed off about Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah. People do still mention that. They still mention. Do you guys think he's going to work out this contract?
I think there's going to be a way Cleveland has to get out of this contract eventually. Because there's going to be so much backlash. Because it's only going to get worse as the years go on.
Is he Trevor Bauer, though? No,
right? Trevor Bauer was choking chicks out. That's what Trevor Bauer done. By the way, Trevor Bauer.
But look at
his career.
Look at the freaking money that Bauer lost compared to what Watson's going to lose. Did you guys see that? The freaking millions.
Watson's going to lose maybe 800,000. Bauer's lost like 60 million.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
Bauer's going to be that guy that's pitching in some independent league in Kentucky.
California Peanut.
And by the way, be 35 years old, only be 35, and throwing like 99 miles an hour in independent league in Kentucky. But nobody's going to touch you, bro. No one's going to sign you.
No. All right, let's move on to the next topic because this topic one is done with the Watsons.
Talk about now.
Let's get on to this Dolphins gate. Or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Man, we got to chill out this gate business, bro. I mean, everybody has to relax. I hate it.
ABH was talking about Brady and Peyton Manning linking up in Miami. He told y'all back in the day
Sean Payton,
stuff was going on.
Sean Payton.
But so this is how the NFL. It was funny that this came out literally the day after the Deshaun Watson thing because the NFL is funky like that. Like they want to try to cover up their bullshit from the day before, right? So then they all of a sudden now they have some verdict on the Miami Dolphins investigating the investigation they put on them with the losing games and the owner and all that. So they're attempting to cover up the news from Watson the day before, right? So it pops up and they have 2 first-round picks. They only lost 1 first-round pick.
Right.
And then they lost a 3rd rounder in the 2024 draft or whatever for tampering and tanking and all that. So what are the thoughts that you guys came across? And maybe you should explain it to the people, homie, about your inquiries that you got from the homie investigation team early on.
Yeah, I've been saying this. I mean, there was breadcrumbs out here and there were some people that was nosing around with some clues. Now, most of the clues came out after the fact. And this is all started in the rumors of where's Tom Brady going to go after leaving the Patriots.
That started 2019. Yep.
Thank you. So that's where the genesis of this situation is. Now, there's all kind of haziness with University of Michigan affiliations with the owner and another cat that's over there too, and this whole Michigan Wolverine situation, brotherhood. I don't even know, but if you go back, this is what started the tank for Burrow, which ended up being tank for Tua, right? So that was that situation with these dudes. They were out here setting up the late night yacht dinners. Okay. Stephen Ross was about trying to win. He saw opening that Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots was about to leave the door open for him to run through this. And he said, I'm going all out, kid. I'm getting all of this, man. Yacht dinners with Brady. Now, when Flores comes on, okay, now Brady goes to TB. Okay, he goes to Tampa Bay. All right. And all of a sudden, because now Brian Flores is like, nah, I don't want to get down with this. So he's making the situation look shady. This is like a good drama that I'll be watching lately. I'm telling you, if you just imagine all of this stuff going on, late night meetings, all of this. Flores comes into the mix. Tom Brady goes out there, wins the championship, then retires. Okay. Then retires.
By the way, Sean Payton retires at the same time.
Yes. Okay. I was about to say that. Sean Payton decides, I'm not playing for New Orleans too. Right. So this whole thing is bubbling. Tom Brady's got a plot of dirt that's in Miami that's being from the ground up built in Miami this whole time. And I've been telling y'all this aerial photos that I put out there, they're out there. I'm telling you. And unbeknownst to all of these figures, now Brian Flores says, hey, I think all of this is wrong. I'm about to sue, and blows up all of this. He did not even know the spark by the fuse he was lighting and how far it led back, bro.
If they didn't fire him, they wouldn't have done it. He would not have done a lawsuit. And by the way, Brian Flores comes out smelling like a rose because Brian Flores, the NFL said in their investigation, which we can get into the light fines, that everything in his lawsuit was accurate. The NFL admitted, we found out that Ross came to you and talked about tanking for $100,000 a loss.
Yep.
But they said, we thought he was joking when he said it. But the NFL's admitted that conversation happened.
Yeah. Cash for L's.
Yep. And then Brian Flores' other part of the lawsuit was there was tampering going on. Well, yeah,
we were trying to tamper our ass off.
Now, the one thing we can say about Tom Brady is this, and Sean Payton. In the CBA, it clearly states, only ownership.
There we go.
Is held accountable for tampering. It's not on the players. If you call a player, the NFL is not going to tell a player we're finding you or suspending you because you answered a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, Tom Brady answered several phone calls, as did Sean Payton.
Yeah.
But players and coaches are allowed to have those conversations as long as they're not the ones that initiate it. So in this situation, that's why they're completely free and clear because they just accepted phone calls. They didn't start it. Now, once it started, obviously they were convoluted and involved in it and all that stuff. But it only goes to the source. The CBA says the source is the one that's solely responsible. That's why Ross in Miami gets hit with it. I will say this. I saw this on a podcast this morning with Nick Wright.
Go ahead.
Only 3 teams in the history of the NFL have lost a first-round draft pick. All 3 teams, it involved Tom Brady. Spygate.
You're kidding, right?
Yeah.
Spygate, Deflategate, and now this. Tom Brady has been involved in some way, shape, or form
awesome.
In all 3 teams that have lost a first-round draft pick over something that they did illegal. Wow. Tom Brady has not been held responsible one time, other than, well, I take that back. You got 4 games.
Go to jail card.
But and again, I get the CBA says players aren't responsible for these things. But Tom Brady's name has been involved in every single team losing a first-round draft pick for an investigation.
Sticks, bro. What do you think about all of this stuff where they're talking about based on the way that Tom Brady's contract was laid out and at his retirement, this is how far gone it was. That letter that he put out on whatever social media that he put that out on was not a legit retirement because based on his contract, he couldn't go immediately play for any other team. He was going to walk into that building as an owner.
As an owner.
And they were about to negotiate this business about, do you guys mind if Tom Brady comes out and puts this uniform on? What do you think about that?
I could be wrong on this. Anonymous. But I don't know if Tom Brady actually filed the retirement paperwork. Because he was back in 42 days.
All these news people was running.
I don't think he actually filed retirement paperwork.
So he couldn't retire from playing football and go immediately into the office.
You could
Is
go
that
to
what you're
ownership.
saying?
No, he couldn't go and play and put on another uniform immediately the next year. So he was going to go work that front office. And
he was going to work the front office.
He was,
and then Michael Jordan.
They're going to say, hey, what do you guys mind if he go put this uniform on real quick? It's all good. It's been some time.
And instead of doing that, now he's going to have a multi-million-dollar deal with, what is it, Fox?
Fox.
So,
which, by the way, is another thing that's funny. You won't let ownership, it's silly when we talk about all this stuff that this, everybody getting involved. Because now the NBA's got 3 of them now. They're investigating 3 more this year. Because I don't know why they thought it wasn't funny that the Dallas Mavericks backup point guard signed with the Knicks when his dad was an assistant coach with the Knicks. You didn't think there was tampering? So now they're investigating that. Well, it's called an iPhone. My dad might text me, hey, we got an opening.
Yeah.
You want to come play? How's that? Is that a family conversation? Or I realize it's a business conversation. Now we're getting into that murky water. And my thing is this. You bring up Tom Brady's contract with Fox.
Oh, yeah, I got someone that
tampering. When Fox wasn't tampering with a player, like, hey, we need you need to tell Tampa Bay you're retiring it, because we all know.
Because we're going to pay you more money than you got paid.
Come right now.
Paid to play.
Colin Coward and all those guys that are doing FS1, they've already come out and said, this is Tom Brady's last year. What that means is Fox said, here's the money, but you got to retire this year.
Yep.
You think that's not tampering? That you just told Tampa Bay's quarterback, we're going to give you a bunch of money, but you got to tell Tampa Bay
they'll dismiss that, and you know why? Because that is that's one of the NFL partners. That's one of the NFL partners. Exactly. Okay, whatever you guys say. Because
sweep it under the rug, baby.
A little tidbit I heard on that Tom Brady situation. That seems like an inflated number, right? That seems like a stupid amount of money. But apparently, it's not only to call games. Apparently, they're going to slice Tom Brady off like a production situation. So we're going to see stories about Tom Brady. Apparently,
they're going to try to do him like they did the Mannings. They're going to try to put him out there where he does. Fox has their own channel
content.
Where he's doing a live interview during the game, like the Mannings do on Monday
He's going to be everywhere.
Yep. And and by the way, I don't fault Fox and I don't fault him, but
I mean, they know the content is the future.
Right. And I get Fox is outside of the purview of the NFL, so that's why it's not tampering. But at the same time, if you're going to allow one entity to recruit players and not another entity, you got to have a better contract. You got to have a better contract or something. But go ahead.
They wild out there in the NFL world. All they care about is the Benjamins. So they're gonna, as long as they're getting their Benjamins, they'll look under the rug for everything else. So
and all the news time, they need all of that. FaceTime, they need it all.
So let's get into the next topic we got here, the NFL training camp. While we're on NFL, it's kind of all rolling into one here, but let's hit it. NFL training camps are going. Obviously, already some COVID hitting the camps. My guy, Coach Pete, Kyler, Mr. New Millionaire dude or whatever, got his little I think they only got like 2 days left because they're only in that 5-day protocol. We got a preseason game tonight here in about 40 minutes. Got to tune in for that. And homie, remember last year, real quick on the preseason game. Remember last year we were talking about the preseason game? I was adamant it was going to be over. It was like 20. I think it might have been. It's 30.5 tonight.
It was like 20 total. It was less than 20 total points scored.
It was like 16-3, Pittsburgh 16, Dallas 3 or something. I was adamant it was the over, right? Like no doubt. In
just
my
like
mind.
you are this year for some
like
reason.
Always. But I'm gonna stay away from this one tonight. We'll see how it plays out.
Well, they got the numbers. They got Vegas favored by 2.5.
I don't know when you throw out money on anything where you've got players that never played in the NFL. Like you're
right. This is going to be weird.
Lawrence isn't even starting for Jacksonville. So why would you throw money on this game? You don't know what the hell.
Just for fun, just to get back in.
You might have a quarterback go out there and throw 7 picks.
That's even better if throws 7 picks, and it's definitely going to hit the over. That's the point. You got to look for the little access points, you know. You got to get in there a little bit, see what happens, you know. You got to hope for a little bit of turnovers, hope for some defense.
On a guy that's going to be packing your groceries in 2 weeks. Okay.
Wow. Well, the line for if anybody cares about it, the Raiders are favored by 2.5. They said the over/under is 30.5 tonight. In Canton, Ohio, at the Hall of Fame situation. But I mean, that's cool and all that. I don't even think anybody's gonna really watch past a quarter, just to catch up on the latest news and all of that. But I mean, the biggest thing, come on, man, you talking about Kyler Murray with the COVID? Does that give him more time to study? I mean, yo, what's up with this,
dude? Okay, remember when we talked about it?
Yeah, we
24 hours later is over.
Okay, now why do I turn around on that? Why do I need to come back on?
What's more of a slap in the face? The putting it in the contract and having you sign it, and making you think about it, or taking it out of the contract 24 hours later.
Either way, everybody's in the know, right? Everybody knows everybody else's hand. It's like we're playing a 7-card poker. But everybody can see everybody's hand, basically, is what that was.
Yeah, I don't know why he would sign that
scare tactic.
Pushback, because contracts are public knowledge, and so once he signed that $230 million or whatever it was contract,
someone found
it was coming out. Like there's no way reporters weren't going to go pull the contract and sort through it, because obviously his agent had made a big deal of it. Even a year ago, his agent threatened to go back to baseball. So this had been an ongoing situation. So that was a contract that clearly, in every big contract, somebody's going to pick through it because they're the public records. Yeah, so why he signed that and thought it wasn't going to be a blowback, it's the only contract, when you listen to other quarterbacks talk about it, it's the only contract they've ever heard where a quarterback was mandated to watch film.
Yeah, and you heard all of them talking about that,
film, bro.
And Arizona, the Cardinals realized that they shot themselves in the foot, and they made their quarterback look stupid. Whether they intended to or not, the less than desired effect happened 100%, because whether you said that as a protection for yourself and hope nobody saw it, or the fact that it's out there, it is a known entity at this point, and you have officially made him look stupid. So you had no choice except for to go out there and publicly let it be known that you took it off as the Cardinals, because you can't afford to have this little dynamic going on in the locker room that's been going on for years. Everybody's been talking about the Cardinals organization is a disaster. You're going to keep letting that fester, or you're going to go out and try to save as much face as you can by saying, all right, we took it off. He's an excellent scholar.
Well, that dynamic's going to follow him forever now. Because you know this, they've fallen apart in the second half the last 3 years. So every time he goes out and has a bad game, you know there's going to be dudes in the locker room going, like Ryan Clark said it on ESPN. Once he has a bad game, somebody's going to be like, yo, coach, can you show me the video of him studying for 4 hours? Because I saw that blitz coming. How did he not see it? So there's going to be that dynamic. Okay, so every time he F's up, did he not do it? And then the other dynamic's going to be, he's got to know his head coach turned him in. How would the owner and GM know you're not watching film if the coach was not talking to them about it based off his iPad?
What is the most important position on the field? The quarterback position. Right? The quarterback position. Okay, so
center.
When you put this in the clause and you're playing mind games with your quarterback, your franchise quarterback, how do you expect him to play? And when you're talking about, now the player's going to be like, well, where's Kyler watching these games?
Yeah.
No, fuck that. Their own team just put a bounty on their franchise quarterback's head for no damn reason. They didn't have to put that in there. I guarantee you that Kyler Murray could have been a better quarterback this year without all that nonsense in his contract saying, you need to study.
Yeah, I agree.
It definitely is positive.
Just for the mental part, right? Because it's got the mental part. I don't care who you are unless you're fucking Deshawn Watson, who has no fucking mental capacity ever to deal with this.
Blood.
That he can just blur it out. But if you're a gamer like Kyler, you're going to think about that. Okay, cool. Now you're kind of second guessing, not really, because he has said that he is he has the physical attributes and it all clicks in his head when he's out there on the field. I hope that for Kyler, even though he's in the NFC West. But to put your quarterback under the fucking microscope of not being able to study film and be better by studying 4 more hours a week is bullshit. And that's on you as a franchise to take the hit on this and not the team to be able to degrade him if he does have a bad game.
So I will say this. There's 3 things. Number one, you're right. The team should have made him study. If you thought he wasn't studying, you should have made him stay at the complex for 4 hours the last 2-3 years. 100%. It's basic bad parenting, right? Well, you just let him go do it, and then you had to pay them that big allowance, even though you knew they didn't mow the lawn. So now I'm going to put in a thing where you can't get paid till you mow the lawn anymore. You should have fixed that before you put it in there.
Exactly.
Secondly,
real quick, Barcott. Do you think that, or can we figure out how, if that was in the contract, you said fix it, right? I wonder if Deshawn and his team brought it. Did Deshawn
fix the behavior.
Bring it to him and say, hey, can we take this out?
What I was saying was you should have fixed the film issue beforehand.
Fix the behavior beforehand.
What I'm saying is if you didn't think you'd watch a film.
I agree with that.
Then
coach to excellence.
You should have had quarterback coach, head coach, GM sit his ass down and watch film 4 hours after practice.
That's right.
I'm agreeing with you, Jason. They could have fixed this beforehand. Now, the other piece, number 2, you put that in the language. He's basically effed every bad game he has for the rest of his career. And God forbid he have a bad second half like he's had for 3 straight years. That shit's going to be thrown in his face by his teammates in the locker room. He's lost respect, basically, in the locker room. He's going to need a guy like D-Hop to come in and save his ass. Because as good of a guy as he may be, as much as his boys in the locker room may love him, when you start fucking shit up and they start, man, you got the Rams and you've got San Francisco. No offense to Seahawks, aren't going to make any noise this year. You got those two whooping your ass. Your teammates are going to be like, bro, did you watch film this week?
Well, I don't
the contract language. And then the other piece is you never should have negotiated that in there. And if you were going to negotiate it in there, and I agree with you, but in worst case scenario, you'd already failed by not making him do it when you realized he wasn't, by just making him stay there, not putting him in contract.
Right.
But the worst case scenario, if I got to put this contract, can I word that differently where it's not attached to film?
It's
and I just attach it to extra hours of whatever, because we've known, guess what? He's been injured 3 straight years. So maybe we could do the film thing as extra hours of PT, doing this and
they're not
something that's not that. But you and the quarterback know, yo, I'm going to pay you for this, but your ass is watching film. That's what it really is, unless you want me to embarrass you. But I agree with you, Jason. That's my point on those 3 points.
Yeah, no, I like that. I agree too. Like, why are you going to put that in there and embarrass him? Exactly. That's the word I was for.
Yes.
Embarrass him in front of everybody. And now, and it's 100% right. You know damn well they could have put in there exactly what you just said, Barcott. They could have damn well put in there PT and told him off camera, that, and been like, hey, you know what's going to happen? You know, while you're getting your massages, not Deshaun style, but while you're
I know what you're saying. There's going to be an iPad in front of you.
We can check out this iPad a little bit.
But see, this might be.
Homie, you said it too, though. Coach to excellence, right? You could coach him up before and then just get him, hey, you know, take a couple hours here. We need to look at this defense this day. Cool. You can get on the iPad. They all link. All the iPads link to the corporate office, so to speak. The owners of the teams. They know how many guys on their team are watching film.
You know where the weakness is? You know where the weakness is? Cliff Kingsbury. He's not Brian Shanahan. He's not Sean McVay. He's not Andy Reid. Yeah. What I mean by that is he's not the one that wrote the contract, but he's the one that didn't hold the quarterback accountable when he knew he wasn't watching film. He's the one that turned his quarterback over to the GM and the owner. Hey, man, this kid's not watching film. You should see him at practice. That's how the owner knew it.
See, that's that tattletale behavior. But see, that's what I'm saying. At the same time, that might speak to what everybody has been saying about this franchise for a long time. Okay, that there's a lot of just BS that goes on around there. That's why people want to be out, and it might say something to the fact that as soon as they take same franchise, as soon as they take Hollywood Brown and activate him onto the list to start practicing, he immediately goes right out. Hops in the ride, busted for reckless driving all in the streets.
Yep.
Okay. So what goes on in Arizona? What does that tell us that goes on in Arizona? So like the coach, the head coach is snitching that he's not watching film like I wanted him to the ownership. And somewhere along the line, the ownership is down here cleaning all of this stuff up and condoning. Because basically, if there's no discipline, you're condoning. That's always
you're the coach. You're the coaching it or you're co-signing. I learned that as a coach. You're the co-signing it or you're coaching it.
That's right.
Go ahead.
So, and that's exactly it. So, I mean, if there's an aura of this floating around, Hollywood is new to this team. Okay.
Because that shit didn't fly in Baltimore. Exactly. We know under Harbaugh that shit didn't fly in Baltimore.
Exactly. So as soon as he gets out there, now him and Kyler got photos all at the restaurant in public with bottles and all of this and
they're
steaks and whatever the case. They out here chilling and all of this. So they might be thinking like everything is everything. Because this new school athlete, man, there's something to be said about this new school athlete and the way that their brain works. Shout out to Paulo Banchero, because I've seen an interview with him, and it seems like this young Northwest cat might have his head screwed on straight and knows what he's out here trying to do with himself. But a lot of these dudes, I don't think do. And what happens is it just becomes everything. They don't have that drive to hone their craft early in their career, especially in football when you're not even promised the first three. Everybody be out by 4 on average, and more and more. It's cats retiring in good health at a very early age, getting up out of the game. You know what I mean? With their faculties in order. So, hey, man, I don't know. It says some. I mean, a lot of stories going down in training camp, but I mean, I thought that one with them two dudes, who got all the social pictures together. This fool don't study, and this fool out here riding the whip crazy. And getting busted.
And don't forget they were teammates at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So I guess my point is, with Cliff, and I agree with everything you just said, homie, being a snitch and being everything else. My point with bringing up Shanahan, McVay, those kinds of coaches, even those are new era. Even though Shanahan's dad was an old school guy that he coached under. And by the way, let's not forget where RG3 fucked up his career. Because when he was at Washington as a rookie, he had Mike Shanahan. Yeah. Ryan Shanahan was his offensive coordinator. Yeah. And Sean McVay was his quarterback coach. Yeah. And he still fucked that up. So that's why I have no respect for RG3. You had 3 great coaches coaching you. But my point is this. Ryan Shanahan's not stitching his quarterback out. Brian Shanahan's there's been rumors about how bad Trey Lance looks, but we don't see the 49ers and the coach saying stuff. Yeah. Sean McVay, we knew he and Jared Goff didn't get along at the end, but there was nothing out there until the very end, where it was obviously going to trade.
Very end.
But it was at the very end. And once you heard that, you knew that had been bubbling. Mm-hmm. My point was Cliff Kingsbury has been snitching on his QB. I get that Arizona as an organization has to own for what they did to him. But it started with the head coach, because the head coach is the one that fed the organization the information. The owner's not on the sideline watching.
And what did you say, Barcott? What's the line?
That was his handpicked guy.
What's the coaching line?
Yeah.
You either coach it or you're part of what?
You either coach it
or you can co-sign it or condone it.
I've heard it both ways. Coach it or co-sign it. Yep.
Coach
it or co-sign it. And Cliff clearly co-signed it until I feel Cliff got nervous. His job was on the line, so he started talking bad about his quarterback. And that's why they threw that in his contract, because Cliff probably felt some heat No, it ain't me.
I don't want this dude to get fired. I don't want to be tied to this dude. Yep.
He ain't watching film. It ain't me.
Yep.
So I felt Cliff got a little heat from the GM because he didn't just make this up. There was probably a little bit, hey, man, we got to have some improvements. You got to hit XYZ next year. Oh, we got to look in the other direction.
That was his handpicked guy. And he probably saw that. And he probably saw that he's over there bullshit more than I would like. Yep. Right. This is what's going on in the coach's head. Like, oh, yeah, I got the star player, but he's over there bullshitting a little bit more than I would.
But you allowed that. You allowed that as a head coach.
Exactly. But he's trying to get it out from under the gun. Okay. The barrel is like pointed right at his forehead.
I will say this. I get it because the GM told him there was heat, and that's why he sold the quarterback out. And I will give Jason some of this credit for his guy, Pete Carroll. There was a lot of tension between Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson the last 3 years. But Pete Carroll never threw. He never. Well, yeah, you're right. He never publicly ordered the front office threw Russell Wilson under the bus. When everyone and their mama knew you two clearly are not on the same page. Pete never said, "Hey, Paul, can you come talk to me a minute? Because we got some problems with the quarterback." No. Pete was a professional, and that's where Cliff. I don't think Cliff's long for the NFL, man. He's going to be that guy that's going to be. You did some great things, but you clearly can't run a locker room.
Yeah, he could bust a Nick Saban, right? He could, you know what I'm saying, had his little NFL taste and then go back and live out that dream. Or the Steve Spurrier, you know what I mean? Get that taste and then go back and handle your business and be the governor of whatever state university you want to be at.
Yep. Hey, let's hit a couple more things real quick before we end training camp. One we have to talk about. The other one I just saw today. Homie, what did we say about the Raiders in Las Vegas? Keep them away from
Top Golf. Swing away. What's going on?
Guess where Hunter Renfrow and Derek Carr and a couple receivers were heading to today.
Did they say that on the NFL channel?
I don't know. I think I saw it on like Instagram or something. On the
watch the news tonight.
In a little damn Prius.
Watch the news
These
tomorrow.
motherfuckers are 6 foot tall and they're all piled into a little Prius.
David Carr got enough sense though. Or I'm sorry, Derek Carr, probably both of them, but Derek Carr got enough sense to keep
Hunter
them out
of and a couple other players. So stay tuned for that to check the news. But what do you guys got on this? Yeah, they did take an Uber there, so we'll see how that works out. But how does what does this Amazon and Dude Perfect have in common for the NFL broadcast to close out this NFL training camp? Any ideas? Any thoughts? What they got going on? They paid him a lot of money to do trick shots during the game.
I don't know. Okay, nobody knows. This is a part of. I'm telling you, the ripple of what this is the success of Peyton and Eli. Bro. That's what this is. Peyton and Eli. They just popped their collar. They just popped their collar right now, knowing that these little dudes who got YouTube clips of crazy hoop shots, okay, is about to have an alternative broadcast that they just got paid X for by Amazon because they're trying to get in this live sports game. Ooh, what am I going to be worth as Peyton Manning is all on network TV with game shows that he's producing? Same thing with Steph Curry and all these dudes.
By the way, Amazon tried to get Sean McVay. They tried to recruit him away from the Rams this past year and make him a part of it.
I couldn't even imagine what that will be. I mean, what kind of trick? I mean, we've seen the Nickelodeon situation. I don't know, but
you guys getting slimed.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand what that is, but like I said, it's content. So if you can pay these dudes and Amazon as many packages they're selling, trust me, they can afford anything. Okay, anybody to do anything.
Yeah, Amazon.
Jeff Bezos is buying everybody's life multiple times. Okay, whatever he needs you to do, you're gonna go do it. But man, y'all, look, it's been a couple of injuries out here too that's affecting. In training camp, it's always a couple good things that's going to happen in training camp before we close this out. Somebody's going to have a season-ending injury, which I talked about last week. It's bound to happen. It's going to be a couple major injuries, and it's going to be some.
Denver have already had two.
and it's going to be some scuffles. Okay. And this time the scuffle was in-house at the Saints is fighting each other. Jameis Winston, your boy, young crab legs.
Hey, Jameis is staying out of it, bro. He's too busy eating crab legs.
You know good and well, a team that has him on it, he was in the middle of that strum with them dudes hyping it up. But yeah, that was funny. But I mean, Tom Brady losing his wingman, his center, for the season. That might mark a sign for things to come right there to me. That's how I took it. What about y'all?
I think it's going to hurt the running game. He was ranked, by the way, as the 23rd best center last year. So we're not talking about top flight. We're not talking about top flight center. However,
metrics.
The one thing they say about Tom Brady is he'll survive bad tackles. He can't survive pressure up the middle. And so my point being, he's not the best center in the league, but if he's 23rd and he's your starter, what's your backup? 42nd, 45th in the league? So
probably a lot lower than that, yeah.
Now I've got to survive pressure off the tackles and up front. And if I remember right, he's lost mother lineman this year. And his
young dude quit. Young dude retired.
Yeah, and his number one target was Chris Godwin. Remember, Tom Brady under Tom Brady, Godwin got the catches, not my guy Evans on the outside. Now, Evans was a 1,000-yard receiver, but remember, Evans was that guy getting 1,000 yards on like the last game of the year.
Long ball.
Godwin, and I had, and Jason can attest to this, I had Gronk last year in fantasy football. Gronk missed like 8 games. Fucker. Guess what? Gronk still had like 60 catches for 800 yards in like 9 games. So that's what my point being. Now you don't have Gronk. You don't have Godwin for probably half the year, if not longer. I don't know what Tom Brady feels because now my center's gone. I got another interior lineman gone. I got a running back that's 32 pounds overweight. Ronald Jones is gone to Kansas City. Where's my savior? Where's my quick hitter when I need something? Because he's just like it's Tom Brady. He's going to figure it out. But my point is, it's probably going to be week 4 or 5 before he figures that. Tampa Bay might get off to another slow start.
I was going to say they start off slow last year, and then it's fucking downhill from there for them. So, all right, well let's get on to some MLB news because there's definitely a lot to talk about in MLB because I'd like to get into just a quick recap or a review. Let's do a review. I want to talk about the trade deadline, first of all. Trade deadline and all that. What you guys think of that? And I have a little tidbit on that. But let's start with this. And I'm going to say this from my chest. I don't care that the Mariners just took 2 of 3 from Barcott's Yankees.
Wow.
We did not compete. We did not compete.
I was not excited about that.
You guys beat us up.
However, the Mariners are not on the same level as the Yankees and the Astros when it comes to the crunch time.
Now, why would you say that? Because we did not compete against you, and we threw our 1 and 2. Now, the funny part is the one game we won was our throwaway Domingo Germán. I could care less if he shows up for a game. Like, they could tell me Domingo Germán hungover can't start today. I'd be like, we'd probably be better off. And that's the one game we won 7-2. Our other 2 starters, Tyone will no longer be our 2-starter because Montez will be now. But I really thought you guys dominated. So
they showed up.
In game one, that first inning, you kicked the shit out of us in the first inning.
They showed up against Cole. They showed up against Cole. I have mad respect for that. Hey. However, when you don't show up in the 4-game series before that, when you play Houston, that doesn't roll over into the 7-game stretch that we just went through, that the Mariners just went through. What is it? 1-3 against Houston and 2-1 against New York.
You guys
to be considered on that level, you have to have a winning record and win both those series to be on that level with the Yankees and the Astros. Right now, you are not on that level with the Yankees and the Astros, in my opinion. Say this. And you make the move of you don't go out and get an actual bat. You could have got young Jacques from San Francisco. You could have got Drury. They ended up going to San Diego along with all those guys. You could have got Soto. You could have got.
They were actually getting very big on Soto. That's what I heard.
They should have been the same. Okay, now that we're already into it, this is what I was going to say about
Ohtani will get traded next year.
The trade deadline, and this is what I would say about the trade deadline. I don't know if we talked about this offline or not.
What?
And I think Barcott and I have, but teams do not really build from their farm system anymore to the major league level. The Astros did it 6 years ago, 7 years ago. So you trade these young prospects to get into you trade these young prospects to get the veteran or young guys to come up and play.
Look at the Soto
to get the Soto. You don't have the big names. You have the young Thunder Kittens that are going to get the trophies for you, right? And make sense to get rid of, or not to get rid of, but let these other young minor league players go to another organization so you can build your major league roster. You look at it with your Dodgers, homie, and
that's
your
what winning
Yankees,
teams do. Exactly.
Barcott. I mean,
I was actually shocked by the number of moves the Yankees made at the trade deadline, and I was actually happy with every one of them. Brian Cashman has been very quiet the last few years. He made a lot of moves this year. The Bader kid at St. Louis, I know he's not playing right now, but he's a Gold Glove center fielder, and there's word out there that once that boot comes off from plantar fasciitis, he'll be the best center fielder the Yankees have seen in years. I get where you're going with this, but here's where. And I say this knowing.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is there teams other than the Astros that have ever done that?
No. But here's what I'm saying.
Recently,
I'm piggybacking what you said. I think a lot of teams have recently. Look at Washington. They won a World Series. They drafted and developed.
Yeah, they got everybody.
Yeah.
The Dodgers drafted and developed a lot of guys for their
Dodgers
to get.
Known for doing that.
Now, when the Dodgers finally got that World Series, you went out and got bets and whatnot. But so here's what I'm saying. I say this knowing that right now, you guys just took 2 out of 3 of us. You guys are entering that era where you build a farm system to bring up 1 or 2 guys, and then you trade everybody else. Look at San Diego. The Dodgers are the best team in baseball right now.
Son of a bitch.
But I guarantee you, Anonymous is scared shitless of San Diego in a 5-17 series.
I don't think
San Diego's out here acting like George Steinbrenner, bro. For the last couple of years, let's go get you Darvish. Let's go get Blake Snell.
And by the way, they were in on Scherzer until you guys threw some stuff in there.
Let's get Manny Machado. Let's go get everybody. Let's throw money around.
And then let's not forget, right before they got Soto, they signed the kid that I drafted in the fantasy baseball and let him go. He was the kid out of Clevenger that Cleveland sent to San Diego and blew on his arm. And they signed him to a $100 million contract the day before the Soto trade. So now you're looking at Darvish, Blake Snell, who's failing right now, Clevenger, Musgrave, who just got a match. So they just signed 2 starters because they just signed Musgrave too.
Musgrove too,
contract. And then you turn around and get yourself Soto and Bell. And then last year, you were in big, you got Machado for $300 million on free agency. You were in big on Scherzer.
Yeah.
So I'm not anonymous. Do I think the Dodgers beat the Padres in a series? Yes.
Yeah, there's Padres.
Do I think you're more scared in 2022 than 2021? I think you are.
Yeah.
I think you're more scared. I think you're better.
Because you got to look at when Tatis comes back and what potential could be in that lineup.
Yeah, because look what they're doing without Tatis.
Exactly.
Well, they got rid of Abrams, who was their replacement for Tatis. They shipped him off.
Yeah, but Tatis.
And now they're playing, and they got Kim. So I think Kim is the everyday shortstop.
And then they traded, and then to get Bell, they gave up. And if I'm Luke Voigt, I think I texted you this, Jason. If I'm Luke Voigt, the next time I see Eric Hosmer, I'm punching him in the fucking mouth.
Yeah.
Eric Hosmer was the one. He's the first baseman that was going to Washington with Soto deal.
Yeah.
He had every right to use his no trade clause, which he did.
Yeah.
They immediately dipped him off to Boston. And then Luke Voigt, minding his own damn business, got shipped to Washington. Like Luke Voigt's just living life as a backup
that might be
San Diego. I'm making $1 million living in Southern California, loving life, chilling, and your ass doesn't want to go to Washington, so now I gotta go.
That might be one of the greatest things I've ever heard, because that is crazy. And we were talking offline about the Hosmer thing, and I'm like, this motherfucker better say no. Like, there's no way I'm accepting a trade to go to that team, and if I do, I'm not showing up the rest of the year. Right? I'm taking an early vacation.
He's right to do it. I don't blame him.
Absolutely. It's in his contract.
I'm not mad at him. I'm just saying, if I'm Luke Voigt, I'm mad at you. Out of 7.5 billion people on the planet, the only 2 people that should be mad at Eric Hosmer are Luke Voigt and his wife. We just got to pack up and leave San Diego. Who wants to leave San Diego? Shit, if I made enough money, I'd be in San Diego right now. That's a beautiful city.
He's counting how many road games there are. He wants to know how many road games we got, because I don't want to be around here.
And by the way, I'm in San Diego. September's coming, which means I got a lot of games in San Diego, Arizona, LA, San Francisco. I'm at home in a matter of hours, no matter what, in the entire month of September. Like, I'm literally living life in Phoenix, LA, San Diego, San Francisco. Now I'm in Washington. And that's the only reason I say I don't blame.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I would have forgot about that, and that is like the greatest story ever. Because I was thinking, if I'm Hosmer, I'm declining the trade no matter what. I don't care what you're gonna do. If you're gonna ship me out, and the only way you're getting Juan Soto is if I leave, no, I'm staying here, because our team that we have now is actually decent, and they didn't get that much better with Soto. They got better with Drury and Soto. I agree with that.
And Bell. Don't forget Bell.
Yeah. And Bell, yeah.
That was on the great year.
I forgot about Bell. Yeah, Bell too.
I will say this to answer your question. You guys are getting into that era where homie and I know. Yeah, you build up to get one. You build up to get your boy, your leadoff hitter. You build up your minor league system to create that kid. But then you build up the rest to trade for Luis Castillo. The Yankees built up to go get Montez. And, by the way, Oakland's closer in the deal. So when I heard we didn't get Castillo, I was mad. But then when I heard we got Montez and Oakland's closer, okay. And then, and homie will acknowledge this because he loves this too. That's why the Dodgers and Padres can trade every year. What Brian Cashman did, made 5 trades. Guess what we got? 3 of our top 10 minor league players, both our shortstops and the Dominguez kids, we kept. So if we need to make a trade in the winter, oh, wait a minute. We still got the Vlape kid that everybody wanted because he's 30-30. He's a 30 home run, 30 stolen base shortstop in the minor leagues. Okay. We still got him if we have to go get something in the winter. So we didn't sell the system. We didn't sell the farm. We didn't deplete.
Nobody really sells the farm because there's not really there's not that many.
There's literally
CJ Abrams was clutch. Novelli Marte for the Mariners is clutch, like a top prospect that's gonna be a major league player, right? So you give them up, but they're still young, just like your guy Jason Dominguez in New York.
What I'm saying, the difference is we're not a young team anymore, nor the Dodgers. The Yankees and Dodgers are stacked.
Yankees are never a young team, bro.
So, when we brought up Gary and Aaron and the first baseman we traded off years ago, we were all 25-year-old kids, and we brought up Glaber at 21. Now we're 25. Glaber's just hitting 25. Judge is hitting 30. We're getting there now. Severino's going to be 30 next year. Our bullpen's 26, 27-year-old kids. But my point is we're established. You guys are still very young. So you're going to trade a lot of pieces. So to answer your question about who brings up a farm system, nobody in the playoffs does. Nobody that contends for a World Series. The Houston Astros were the last one. Tampa Bay also. But at the end of the day, Tampa cannot contend like Houston can because Tampa doesn't trade to bring on money. Houston just brought on Mancini. They just brought on.
I would have took him
Vasquez. Too. They just brought on Vasquez. Houston traded parts in the American League not to the National League, to get better right now. And the Mariners are getting there. That's where the Dodgers and the Yankees are. That's why, so that's why I started by saying you took 2 out of 3 of us. And right now, hey, we're 18-18 in our last 36 games. Now, what I will laugh at is we're 18-18 in our last 36. And Toronto is in second place, is made up of 1.5 games. They've gone from 12.5 out to 11 out, while we played 500 ball for a quarter of the season. But you're getting to that level the Dodgers and Yankees are when I told you big boy baseball. Well, you got to make decisions.
Real.
Who am I giving up? Who am I trading away to get talent? Do I want to keep Felipe at shortstop and Biggie's Castillo? No, I'll take Castillo. But you tell me keep Felipe and I can still get Montez and a closer who throws 98? Okay, I'll take that. You're getting into that point now where it's no longer the Mariners bringing up young talent that you've got to watch through single A, double A, Tacoma. You're going to have to start giving that shit up. You're going to have to start giving it up to win.
And it's not about giving it up. It is about giving it up. And it's also about getting them up there at the right time. Because we talked about this in the preseason. We talked about this in spring training. I said Julio Rodriguez does not need to be set in the minor leagues for another year. He's ready now. 21 years old. He's ready to go.
By the way, don't waste his time. He's played 1 or 2 games since the All-Star break.
Don't waste his time being in the minor leagues like they did with Kyle Lewis, where he has a subsequent to injury. That was my point. So, and then again, that's those fucking who was it? Houston who threw out his ass? Houston who hit him on the hand? I was up at the golf tournament. So Saturday night I saw it. Yep. So I'm glad Jose Altuve got hit in the fucking head the next day on the first pitch, because that's what he deserves. Little fucker needs to be hit in the head.
See, why you want to hit me in the head, man?
I was waiting for it. I set you up.
I was asking, seeing Jordan Altuve, man. Look,
even though it was an accident, Kirby wasn't throwing at him, of course, but I mean, the night before, Julio got hit in the hand.
Hey, who was it? Was it Gibson? Or who's the kid you threw in game 2 that was 8-6 win? He looked terrible. He's your leading winner.
Gilbert.
Gilbert. That kid.
Because he's like 10 and what is he, like 11-3 or 11-4?
10-3.
10-3. No, he gave up the 6th inning runs. 6th inning, they were up what? I mean, left him in there, and then he just tried to get 2 perfect.
But you got to. But see, what you're not acknowledging is he had 5 walks and 1 strikeout. That's what I'm talking about.
But 2 of those walks were to Aaron Judge. I'd rather him walk him anyways.
But they weren't. He pitched. They weren't.
The point is, they're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to be close to the strike zone, you big dummy. You want to throw a fucking strike to Aaron Judge and want to hit the ball fucking 900 miles?
I already told you.
That's why I need
to watch him pitch. Did you watch him pitch? He looked terrible. 7 base hits and 5 walks, and he was throwing pitches to dudes that were like 4 feet off the plate. Like, it was bad. And I've watched the Mariners broadcast, and even the Mariners broadcast was like, dude, if you looked at him, he looked like at points, he looked like he wanted to cry at points. There was points, and you watched his body language.
I would too if Aaron Judge was standing in front of me. I'd be scared to death.
I don't know, because I remember in the preseason, your ass was like, fucking Aaron Judge home runs. I would rather watch a Goldschmidt home run than an Aaron Judge home run. Now all of a sudden, Aaron Judge flexing, and you're like, yeah, I got to get him respect.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. I think Gilbert
from day one that motherfucker was going to hit 61 home runs.
I'm not telling
52
you,
games left.
I'm not telling you should be afraid of Gilbert. What I'm telling you is Gilbert was on the first big stage, and he didn't look good.
Okay. I'm okay with you saying that, because that's still my point. We're still not on the level as New York and LA and Boston. Well, when Boston was good, we're not on that level right now. If they have to get through this,
recruiting. What is it?
Get through the big stage.
Is it recruiting? Because it starts off with the farm. right? The Dodgers just brought up another kid from the farm, just hit a home run or RBI the other day. Game. No,
Outman, dude.
Huh?
Outman was his name. Yep.
No, Wilson Alvarez or Miguel Vargas.
You forgot about Outman though. Those
are two names. They call me. Those are two names that weren't even close.
I know. I was in the ballpark. I was in the ballpark. You know how many people sit in the ballpark? You know what I'm saying? I was close. But yeah, no, we still bring up guys all the time. And you know what happens with, the Dodgers have a consistent a pathway to the bigs. And that's just how they've always done. The Yankees have been known for doing it their way. Cash out, smash out. They'll go give Ricky Henderson his money. They'll give Straw his money. They'll give Doc money. They'll give Rocket money. They don't give a damn. They'll give you money. But the Dodgers will find these cats. I don't know where they be, but I'm telling you, the scouting I have no idea what's going on there. But what the Dodgers do. What the Dodgers do will find cats, and the Dodgers will get a Trace Thompson, brother of one splash brother Clay Thompson.
Oh, you don't say?
Being mad productive right now. What are you talking about?
Oh, is he really?
He's being productive right now as a pinch hitter, putting balls in play.
I will say this, and I say this with the Yankees.
The Dodgers' track record in the minor leagues and rookies.
No. The Dodgers. I'm not disagreeing with that. I do not disagree with that. You are not wrong. Look at that lineup. Look what they brought up. Look how much is homegrown. What I will say,
hardly any of it now, though. But yeah,
what I will say is how much of it is homegrown. Now, I can't argue because every year, the last 5-6 years, you guys have been right there. Obviously won a championship also in 2020. And every year you're in the middle of it. I can't argue that. I'm not arguing that. What I will say, how much of that homegrown talent, while it's won you a championship, Bellinger's got to go. That guy's been terrible for 3 years. Come on, though. Yeah. And I realize Muncy's got an elbow injury, but he's hit. Like, it got so bad that you guys literally, and I get it. I get it. I'm not making fun of you, but it got so bad. It was like, we'll take Gallo for a double-A pitcher.
I was just going to say Gallo.
We need a left-handed bat because guess what? Muncy and Bellinger. This is
going to be the breakdown for Muncy.
Now Muncy is injured. Literally, Muncy needs Tommy John surgery. That's why and then Bellinger, I don't know what the fuck happened to him. Like 3 years ago, he just fell off a cliff.
Maybe he'll become like Matt Carpenter, though.
He might, but Matt Carpenter had to get released. Like Bellinger,
he got to get chopped.
Bellinger. By the way, the Matt Carpenter, i.e., the Disney rookie story, that's not going to last. It's already over. I mean, he hit that single off the wall against the Mariners. That's about the hardest hit ball he's had in 5 days.
So he's not about to
so his 27 home runs that he's had in 12 at bats isn't good enough for you.
He's got,
Jesus. What the fuck are you talking about?
The guy's Kurt Warner right now. He's in
14.
He's literally Kurt Warner. I watched that last night, by the way.
If Jason wants to bitch, Carpenter's got.
You're the one bitching about a fucking guy who's hitting 300. All he does is hitting fucking doubles and home runs in the 45 games that he's played. And you want him off the fucking roster. You want him exonerated like he fucking murdered somebody.
I didn't say
he's about to win the Triple Crown.
I didn't say I want him up the roster. Where's his 300 batting average going, by the way? It's on the way down. He's that Shane Spencer. He's the Shane Spencer that got fired, and now he's on the way down.
First of all, the league batting average is like 240. The league batting average is like 240. So when you're at 300 and you're going down and you may finish at like 290, okay, that's brutal. That is brutal. And he's not taking as many walks as Aaron Judge gets by those pitches, even though Judge is hitting 290 or 300.
Yeah, that's a line.
You want to get rid of Matt Carpenter because he's helping your team win. And he's had 4 games where he hasn't got a hit. He had a long single against the Mariners. The best team in the American League. So you're telling me let's just get rid of him. Put him on the fucking execution.
I did not say get rid of him. I said his Disney rookie
run
run may be over. This is a guy that hit 200 in 2 years ago, and they hit 143 and got released.
Garbage.
He came
He
out
didn't have a fucking
and was
mustache
killing.
back then.
I know. He didn't have the Yankees facial rules.
Yeah, by the way, that's the weirdest thing. The facial rules apparently only apply to beards and not mustaches. That's why the hair rule got to go.
Yeah, that's stupid.
My point is this. I didn't say get rid of it. My point was his run of I'm going to hit 350 with a home run every other game. We got to get over that, as every baseball fan knows. He's probably regressing back to 260, 270.
See, that's what you have to say as a Yankee fan, though. That's what you have to say. You're like, oh, man, he's going to be hard. Yeah, I mean, he's going to come down some, you know what I'm saying, on our way to the pennant. You know, on our way to the pennant.
By the way, just to piss Jason off more and get him a little hyped up, Matt Carpenter's got like 150 at-bats and would be second on the Mariners in home runs right now. I watched that when ESPN puts the matchup. The Julio leads the Mariners with 18 home runs and 57 RBIs. And
How many does Carpenter have?
I've got 14. And by the way,
Cal extra base hits Raleigh has 15. So suck it, bitch.
And Giancarlo didn't play in that series. So I was like, man, how many players on the
Because he's hurt again. Weird.
Right.
Surprise. He's on the IL.
He's got 25 home runs and 60 RBIs, which is more than anybody in Seattle.
And he's hitting
202.
He's hitting 230, which
you want to get rid of that motherfucker too? You want to throw him to the wolves?
No, they don't.
Want to say that? Do you want to say, hey, you know what, Giancarlo Stanton, sorry, you're not worth the $37 million.
No,
get rid of you.
Did I say get rid of Giancarlo?
Yeah,
Matt Carpenter. Matt Carpenter is better than Giancarlo.
I didn't say that.
He didn't say he was Corey Bellinger, bro. I mean, come on. What are you talking about? I mean, you're taking it too far.
I think you're getting a little out of control. I didn't say any of the things you're repeating.
You literally just said, I'm going to say something to get Sticks fired up. And you did. And I'm just saying, you want to get rid of Giancarlo too?
I didn't say that. I said Carpenter has almost the numbers that your main home run hitter has. I didn't say get rid of anybody. I just said I'm preparing for Carpenter.
You're right, though. You're right. Julio took the first month off because he was getting jacked by the umpires. So you're right.
And now he's hurt. And now he's hurt.
And now he's hurt. And now he's hurt. Why is he hurt? Because fucking Houston threw at his ass and hit him in the hand. Because they're scared. Because they know that
do not forget he could not play coming in the All-Star break. And even Scott Servais said when we went to the All-Star break, his wrist was fine. He came back from LA and he can't swing it back.
Hey, you know what?
So I know he got hit and Houston did the right thing because if I knew your best hitter had a wrist injury, I'd hit his wrist too.
Okay, I'm okay with that. You could say that all you want because you know what's going to happen is every team goes through injuries. Look at your boy. You just said Giancarlo Stanton's on the fucking 10-day IL too.
Yeah.
Probably because he fucking walked in the clubhouse and slipped on a banana peel or whatever. But he wasn't out there taking hacks like Julio was. Yeah. So of course
he did win World Series MVP, so watch him out.
Jeez, come on now. We're talking about Giancarlo Stanton, who fucking is terrible.
The Mariners getting in 100%. They're getting in, right? 100%.
They're making the playoffs.
No, say it. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, because who else is making it? I mean, right now.
They're 2 games ahead of Cleveland. They're 2 games ahead of Cleveland for the last spot.
There's a logjam. You got the Blue Jays, Twins.
So you got
Mariners.
the Twins. You got the Twins winning the league right now, the Central. Mm-hmm. So you got Toronto, Seattle, Tampa Bay. Those are the 3 that are in. And then Cleveland's 1 game behind Tampa, 2 games behind Seattle.
That's right. Yep. So is Mariners getting in?
Mariners are going to get in one way or another.
All right.
Okay. Right now, the way we'll work out is Houston and Houston and New York are buys. In the the NL would be the Mets and the Dodgers on a bye. Mm-hmm. I know the AL
we take this post game.
Let's do it.
Yeah, post game. Hold up real quick. I hope this doesn't fuck everything up. Hey, thanks everybody for listening. We're gonna head to the post game show on YouTube. So after you listen to this podcast, you roll to the post game. You rolled a post-game after-hour special here that we got for you. So we'll see you there. Sports Fix with Sticks and Not Big Homie on the YouTube channel. Thanks for listening.
Peace.
Yes.
Shoot. All right.
All right, cool. We're still live. So we were talking about the fuck were we talking about?
You don't know.
Right
We're
now,
talking about the National League.
Oh, the Mariners make the playoffs, yes, and you were talking about Cleveland.
Right now in the American League, Yankees Astros get a bye. It would be Minnesota versus Tampa Bay, and Seattle would head to Toronto. In the National League,
that's interesting.
In the National League, you'd have the Mets and Dodgers off, although the Braves are right behind the Mets. It would then be the Brewers playing the the Brewers playing. Yeah, the Brewers playing the Phillies, and the Braves playing the Braves playing the Padres. That's what it'd be right now if it happened today.
I mean, it sounds better than the way that you announce it for the National League sounds a whole lot better than what I look at when I see the records. When I look at the records, it's like there's nothing to see here. But I think the team and some of the mystique that goes along with some of the potential matchups could mean something. You know what I mean? Out here with the Braves getting back in and trying to get their defense with Acuna back now in the mix, and they trying to catch a little bit fire, but the Dodgers is pulling away, man. And it's just one of those things where
Dodgers are pulling away, and I don't think the Padres catch them.
Yeah,
the Padres will be scary in the postseason, but they're not catching the Dodgers.
A double-digit lead.
It's kind of like right now. Yeah, and people forget that it's a double-digit lead, and you're down into the 50s with games to play.
Yeah.
So now you've got to catch up 2 games a week, basically. Every single week, you've got to catch 2 games a week. So that's where the Yankees and Dodgers are.
That's my problem with the Soto trade. It's not okay. Don't get me wrong. I would have taken Soto too, but the Mariners are 12 games behind Houston, also, right? So they're in the same boat.
They get Soto for 3 years.
True. So either team that got it, and that's why I was saying, like, if the Mariners would have, sold the farm, quote unquote, which they really wouldn't have had to, because you could take the players that San Diego gave up to compared to the farm system the Mariners have. In my opinion, of course, I'm biased because I've seen the Mariners farm system. I have a few ideas of who they are. Mm-hmm. You still could have gave up better prospects than the San Diego gave up to get it. I don't know if you would have got Josh Bell at the same time. That would have been a different story.
Yeah, but you didn't know last week because I asked you about a Mariners package. I asked you about a Mariners package for Shohei, and you didn't even have any names for me because I
was not going to go to Seattle. Shohei was not going to go to Seattle. No more than Soto was going to go to the Mets.
Yeah, we was trying to put together a package because it was we were about to get fired up into training deadline.
I wasn't thinking about. I didn't come up with I didn't figure
and
out.
I told you people who are
evaluation
on the active roster too. I was considering the active roster too. I said
I wasn't evaluating the situation because then when we started talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, well, the Nationals did it. The Nationals actually brought up their farm system years ago and produced. The Astros have done it, and I started thinking that's why I put in the notes that the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and exactly what Barcott mentioned earlier is you have to go out there, build your farm system to trade the prospects to get the veterans to produce into the playoffs, right?
Yeah. Right. You do have to have one or two.
I agree with that.
You're not going to trade an Aaron Judge as a minor leaguer. So you are correct. That's what I said. You keep you have to have 1 or 2 hit, and then you trade the rest based off of history, right? And that's where you send the rest of them away. I will say this: Ohtani, I don't know if he gets moved in the winter or at the deadline, but he's already made it clear that's known. He's told the Angels, I'm opting out and not resigning after 23.
I keep hearing New York Mets with that. And I keep going, I don't know. I mean, for New York, yeah, but the Mets itself, I'm just not feeling that.
Well, he could. You got the Richstone on baseball. Now, you know what? It's probably because, and you know how rumors go, and they're probably not even validated. It's the fact that the Mets have the richest owner in baseball. So everybody's like, oh, yeah, he'll go sign him.
Spend whatever.
And he might. But shit, with what we've seen the Padres do lately, fuck, they might go trade for him before he gets out there in the free agent market. I would not be outside of. I mean, think about it. Look at the last 5 years, what the Padres have done. If you look at the names and who they were in the last 5 years, Darvish, Soto, Manny. You go look at they were in on Scherzer. The Padres are literally going for broke every single year. Like, that shocks me. I mean, they're a team that literally has 3 or 4 guys that can strike out 15 people at any night, and 5 guys in the lineup that can hit 50 home runs. I mean, they're scary. Now, their bullpen leaves a lot to be said because I don't follow the Padres.
But they got Hader too, right?
Yeah, but Hader's given up 13 earned runs in his last
like 5 games. Yeah, he's been on the down.
And what I heard from like Buster and those guys, they've been trying to trade him for 3 years. They just knew we can't give him up as long as he's producing. We can't give him up for nothing, but they knew it was coming. And now like they're seeing already velocities. I'm not saying sense. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the guy's going to be a choke artist, but the velocity's down, the home runs are up, the ERA's up. That's what I'm saying. He's kind of like a Craig Kimbrell, who the Dodgers signed and got rid of Kylie Jansen, and now Kimbrell's a shit show. Almost 5-run ERA. Getting down the dog right now. I have to go yell at the dog.
Yeah, the cats are under here clawing under the door like they need something in here. No, I feel it too because I knew that Hader was getting traded, and it's like, okay, that makes sense. So it's similar to Chapman, where you get these guys for a little bit.
Right.
Back to the Mariners, you had Kazuhiro Sasaki, right? Greatest closer ever. Edwin Diaz, same thing with Diaz. Now he's back to his normal self. Took a couple years off in New York Mets. Now he's back to solid again. So, I mean, these closers are a dime a dozen. You just got to find it. And the Mariners bullpen, in fact, has been solid. So nothing wrong with them.
Solid. They're a good bullpen.
Nothing wrong with the Mariners bullpen, but you can't go out there. You can't go out there with Marco Gonzalez as your everyday starter, like every 5th game or whatever it is. It just isn't that. And I know Barcott, you said something about Gilbert. I would still take Gilbert. He had a rough outing. He's due for that. Like you said, the big lights in New York and the big
and that's
stage,
what I said.
right?
That's
so now, but I still like Castillo, and please forgive me, Robbie Ray. I don't know about this guy. He's pissing me off again.
Derek Cole,
he tried to tell you.
Pitching himself than Robbie Ray right now. But I will say this. I do think, having watched them, their bullpen's legit. You're a 1 or 2 hitter away because you've got, even when Julio was back,
you're not going to win games fucking 2-1. You're good. Well, you can, but
you got too many guys hitting 202. And I realized in Yankee Stadium, there was a bunch of them that hit home runs, but they're hitting 205. So you can't, in a 7-game series, you can't
just like Giancarlo Stanton, and he gets to play at Yankee Stadium fucking 82 games a year or 90, whatever the hell it is.
230, but you don't have a guy hit 345 home runs. So my point is, but
you don't play at Yankee Stadium either.
Wow.
Judge does.
See, he keeps changing the subject. He keeps changing the subject, but see, remember earlier this year, you was talking about all of this pitching that it was going to get brought to the table and all these extra wins. Now that this season has progressed the way that it has, these wins have showed up somewhere, but it hasn't showed up from this pitching staff. What do you think that is? Because if I'm looking at it right now, your boy Robbie Ray has 8 wins, and he was supposed to have 20, says you. And then the rest of these other cats is doing the same damn thing that they was doing last year. It's the same damn thing. I swear I'm looking at the same damn thing. If you're gonna be winning those games you're talking about 2-1 and whatnot, you got to be having these guys whose ERAs are in the 2.5s. You know what I mean? You got to have dudes that are lights out, and you ain't got dudes that are lights out. So where are these wins coming from? Where are these wins coming from Seattle? I mean, because
but outside of Luis, I agree. Outside of Luis, because Flexen's not good. Robbie Ray's been a disappointment.
Until he goes back into his
Marco's a joke. So now you're down to 2 starters, and you got to And you are right, your bullpen's legit, but you're down to 2 starters.
But Gibson, you can't tax the bullpen every night.
You're down to Gibson, who just showed, and that's why I said you're a year away, because Gibson just showed the big lights. He needs to see the big lights.
It's Gilbert, motherfucker. Gilbert. Quit calling him Gibson.
I don't follow the Mariners. That's how little he amounts to me. Gilbert needs a year. I think you guys are a year away. I really do. I like this Steele deal. He's their 10 game.
You still got Kirby too. I mean, they're going to a 6-man. They're going through a 6-man rotation right now because they got a doubleheader on Saturday. So it's gonna see. This is where you put in.
So let's just be honest. See what happens. Let's just be honest though. In the playoffs, Flexen and Marco can't pitch.
That's all bad.
Okay, I agree with the Marco thing, but however, in the playoffs, you're not going with 5 starters. Am I right?
No, you're not. That's why I said those 2 can't pitch.
So you don't need those 2 in the playoffs.
Junior. Right.
You need to get to the playoffs, and it's a 3-game playoff.
You need those 2
to 3-game playoff in there. So you need them in the bullpen, and that's usually where it's going to go. However, to make that to make that happen, you have to actually get to the playoffs.
Right.
So let's get to the playoffs first.
Now you want to talk with a little bit of cautiousness and care.
No, not cautiousness. They're still going to get there, but we'll worry about that when we get there. Until you get there, then you don't have to worry about that until you get there. Then you figure it out, because it would have been nice to have another arm, and then your bullpen will be a little bit more rested because you have more starters going longer, getting those quality starts at the end, and then you won't have to tax the bullpen. Both bullpens were taxed in New York. Barcott and I had this conversation.
100%. Because we made the mistake of
there's going to be problems.
So I wasn't backtracking shit and announced, big homie. So watch your fucking mouth. I said they're going to make the playoffs. We're good.
Hey, look.
I still want Jason to say with his chest about the 100 wins, because they're 57 and 48.
43. What's how many games are they in?
They can't afford to lose.
106 and 106 at 52 or 56. I'm sorry.
So 43 and 13.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, they got to be almost undefeated the rest of the way.
That's only 7 to 10. You don't have to go 7 and 10 each week.
Yeah, the Moneyball A's did that. The Moneyball A's did that.
By the way,
yeah, right. Money, you got to win. You got to win another 15, 20 in a row. Yeah. And I said 20 in a row. Yeah, let's go.
So by the way, what happened after your 14-game winning streak? You went 5 and 6, and I know that because as shitty as the Yankees were last year, they rolled into Seattle last year, up 2 games over 500. That's the reason the wife and I didn't go, because I was like, I'm not paying to watch this shit. And then we won 13 in a row, and that shitty team they sucked me back in by winning 95 and then just being shitty in the wild card. But those teams that when you win 13, 14, 15 in a row, you're bound for a nice little level off. You know, just like the Yankees, we were at one point in time 58-21, and we've leveled way off because that was going to happen. That's baseball. You're going to do that shit.
Yeah.
Dude, what's up, man? Hey, y'all trying to tell me that we let this thing go by all the way into the post game? Yeah, without giving a shout out to Vin Scully, bro. Do we really do that?
Vin Scully and Bill Walton.
We really do that.
We did.
Close. Let's close it out with that.
Right,
so let's go.
She is gone. Home run. In the year of the impossible, the improbable has happened. I'm trying to tell you that right there used to play in my sleep, bro, as a little kid. Man, I'm telling you, when we won in '88, bro, that Kirk Gibson home run, that's the greatest thing ever, man. And hearing this dude, Vin Scully, do ad reads for Farmer John hot dogs, bro, was just the most delightful thing as a young buck with a glove on about to run outside could hear, you know what I'm saying? And Vin Scully is just the greatest dude to ever announce anything, bro. I mean, I don't care who you are. You could be Johnny
100%.
Moss, Chick Hearns, damn Harry Carey, Marv Albert, Vince Scully, bro. Hey, I've even heard this somewhere. I think it might have been on Howard Stern or something years ago, but they played Vince Scully reading a shopping list, G. And that just sounds so amazing. A dozen eggs, a can of milk. Man, I'm trying to tell you, but Vince Scully, man, we lost Chick Hearn. That was bad, man. Tommy Lasorda, that's a bad one too. Vince Scully is icon all the way back for two cities
in LA.
For two cities, a lot of
icons.
Dodgers,
three teams: the Dodgers, the Lakers, yeah.
Straight up, the Dodgers full run all the way back to Ebbets Field, G. So, you know what I'm saying? He came over with the Dodgers when they left Brooklyn. Yeah, that's how far back the situation goes. He was
on TV before there was TV.
Well, I don't know if you could be on TV before it's TV, but yeah, I see what you're saying, though. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, he was on TV before there was TV.
He had a voice built for radio.
He's what made TV.
Yeah, he's got. Yeah, everybody knows. He got a bunch of iconic calls. Everybody knows the Kirk Gibson one I just laid down, man. But there's a couple other ones that he had. He did. He's on the call. He's on the Buckner call.
Yeah.
He's on the Vince Scully is on the Buckner call too. And it's a lot of calls, man. I don't know about y'all, man, but shit, all this mortality stuff, man. This mortality stuff,
Kirk
man.
Gibson home run.
I feel different about. Yeah, you feel different about looking back on this stuff, man. When we start losing people like this now, get old.
Man, haven't been in the 70s, baby. Now that we're pushing the mid 220s, I start to think about it. It does start to hit you up. It starts to hit you up. You start to realize you got 1 foot closer to the grave than you do the beginning. And then you start to reminisce about all the things you saw and heard. And 100%. Yeah. I find myself getting emotional documentaries now.
For real. For real.
And you got the Bill Walton too. That shit fucking 2 days before.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Bill Russell.
Bill Russell. Bill Russell.
Bill Russell.
I can't even say it right. You better have to cut that one out.
Hey, you got on me. Two totally different Celtics.
I was like, what happened to Bill Walton?
Bill Russell.
Where did my weed game go?
I was saying, OD on Bud.
Hey, you two motherfuckers have been chopping up names all night, and I had to correct you. So it's about time you correct me on one. So I fuck up every once in a while.
But yeah, man.
Bill Russell,
Bill
iconic
Russell
too.
Bill Russell is different too, because he's in the game before Wilt Chamberlain, and that's a whole other thing. And then watching these dudes like him and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, we already lost Muhammad Ali, and some of these real old cats that used to do 50s and 60s, like living their primes in those times, and everything that the world was doing at that time, and trying to do both things, man. It's so crazy. Some of the stuff they were accomplished, man. We think about. It's never lost on me about how crazy it would have been back in the day with all of that stuff that was going on, the Vietnams, the Koreas, whatever was going on in the world. The world was just so shaky during that time.
Well, I had that this winter. So as good as we were as a basketball team, we went 19-0 regular season, finished third in state.
All right.
December, January, my wife's dad passed, and then my wife's aunt passed 2 weeks later. So I had to coach around a lot of mortality as well. And I was literally coaching games, hopping in the car and going to see family. And, obviously there's a lot of drinking and hanging out. But my point was, there was just that mortality hit me this winter when I started to see family I hadn't seen, because everybody flying in, storytelling. And so when you talk about, Vince Scully and Bill Russell and all that's a little something that on a much lesser level in terms of popularity. But I had to go through that this winter, just having the season I had and having to coach the girls I had. And, the girls were also drama on top of being good, but then having to coach around two family deaths at the same time. Yeah, man, that death thing, that will that will kick your shit back into reality real fast. Like there was games I didn't give a fuck about. Like we're beating people, and I didn't realize we're up 40 points, and I didn't play a girl because I'm just thinking about how's my wife doing? Her dad just passed away. What's going on? And I forgot we're up 75-30, and some girl at the end of the bench still got a shooting shirt on, and I now got to deal with mom at the end of the game. Why my kid didn't play? I'm like, you're not going to believe this. But I wasn't thinking about the basketball game. That shit, and it's so anonymous. When you said as we get older, death in my 20s didn't affect me as much because I still thought I was undefeated.
Man, I was Iron Man, bro.
But now, when people I've been around for 30 years pass, whether they be, my elders or shit, I've got a 30-year reunion coming up, and we already have to talk about the 20 people that died.
Right.
Didn't make it to 40
years. Yeah.
And it's going to be like, man, and then they have to work around that shit, and have to, you still got to go to work and deal with that shit mentally. So Vince Scully, to just know Vince Scully in that voice, you just knew when you watched the Dodger game. Remember when we didn't have cable and the Dodgers were just Saturday afternoon games? Even in the Northwest, I would watch Saturday afternoon games, and you just heard him with that dumb giant yellow font on the bottom of the TV with the player's name and numbers, and Vince Scully's just telling stories. I remember watching Kurt Gibson hit that home run off Dennis Eckersley. I remember watching that live. I don't have to watch it. I watch that shit live. I just, the voice. And the dude always seemed to talk, and his story would end perfectly, either on a major moment, is just talking about a story, and all of a sudden, there's a high fly ball to right field, and there's a pop up to right field, and we're gonna. That ends the second inning. Like every story he told ended like that's a dude that just. And then they hear the other people in the industry that talk about.
Yeah.
Vince Scully was the kindest human being. He always shared. He always helped. He always did. And being us, you guys being in your industry with customer service, me being in teaching, that you always have to have somebody that's got to mold you. Somebody's got to teach you how to get through this. Somebody's got to tell you how to handle things. He was that guy that would talk to all the young cats coming up. He wasn't that, ego. Oh, do you know who I am? I got to be on the air in 20 minutes. Don't talk to me. He was that guy that would share things, sit down, people to talk about the handwritten
help
letters.
You get better.
Yeah. And just share because he understood. It's a community.
Yeah, dude. So,
homie, you think, is that what got you to be a Dodgers fan, listening to him on the radio?
Dude, I'm trying
back
to tell
in the
you.
day.
Well, I think it was.
Or what
probably
sucked you in?
It was probably more TV though. Because on the radio, I like listening to like top 40 DJs for whatever when I was young. But when we watching radio, when you first talked about tuning into one of them old school games and watching the old font and the graphics on the TV and all that, what I remember is just sun shining at Dodger Stadium. And when you turn it on, Vin used to work by himself a lot. Back in the day, he worked with Bill Russell, who used to be a Dodger back in the day. He worked with him for a little while. He worked with Rick Honeycutt for a little while. He worked with Oral
Hershiser.
Shit, somebody who that I'm really forgetting. But anyway, he mostly worked solo, and he worked the game in 3-inning breaks. Like he worked 3 innings, and then maybe somebody would come in for the middle one, then he worked the last one by himself, right? But I just remember it just being quiet, and the stories he would get into, I'm telling you. And I just remember this time, me and Joe DiMaggio were having coffee. Okay, this is how he starts the story off. That just reminds me of an old story. And then next thing you know, ball goes in 2-1. And me and Joe were sitting back, 3-1. And Joe says to me, and high fly ball goes foul. And I mean, he was just so smooth out of all of these stories, and it'd be war stories, and it would be like human interest stories. It would be just all kinds of stuff. And yeah, I mean, when you talk to an older person, a senior grandparent or anything like that, some of them stories are wild. And like when you think about what went on in the time and all of that. So that's why, the tapestry of what he used to create with, if they have any of the stuff on YouTube and y'all out here paying attention to me, go back and listen to some and just listen to Vin Scully just tell a random story in the middle of pitches being thrown. Like I'm telling you, it's like, and they'd be like, 0-1, 0-1, that's curveball. And he'd go right back to a story.
And I love having players do shows, but when we start having too many players do games, that's what they miss, because the players have stories themselves.
Perspective is different,
but it's a totally different perspective. Because
someone who's just up in the booth who actually
but that
sees
player
it,
only got
and
to
he's
see
been
the
there.
Teams that he played.
Yeah,
Vince
seen all.
Vince Scully was there for
stadium.
60 years. As a player, you spent the first 20 years playing against these guys, and you have these stories.
Right.
But Vince Scully got to spend the same 20 years there, and probably 20 years before that, and 20 years after that. Right. So he's got the generational. Like Vince Scully could talk about Aaron Boone's brother Brett and their daddy, who was a catcher.
Yep.
Like he could tell the whole story. Like he could tell King Griffey Sr. and King Griffey Jr. He could tell the whole story. He could talk about Bellinger and Bellinger's daddy when he played the baseball. Like that's stuff that athletes that become announcers can't tell, because their window is very narrow. It's what I played with and now what I see. But I don't get what these players before me.
Yeah.
And we're moving away from them. The problem with ESPN, and the reason I say it's not ESPN's problem, it's the generation. They don't tune into the Dodger Network.
Yes.
They don't get on the Dodger Radio Network. They don't tune into the Yes Network for the Yankees. They don't turn into to the radio network. They just watch Fox, ESPN. What am I getting off of a Prime Video with Amazon? They're not doing the local announcers. And I know Vince Scully is universal, but he was a Dodger announcer.
Right.
He became universal because he was such an icon that Fox and whatever would do Saturday games, allowed him to announce. ESPN would cut into him and we're going to do the third inning with Vince Scully at Dodger Stadium today. We're going
and that's real.
It's not big a deal.
Yep, that is real.
These kids today, they only get the ESPN guys and the Fox Sports guys. Yeah. They don't get the dudes that they forget. Vince Scully was a minor league baseball announcer. He grew up.
That's what I'm saying.
And came through. He came up like a baseball player.
Started from the top and started from the bottom, and now at the top.
And that's like all of that old and some of that old school stuff. You're talking about being an old school baseball man, like they say. You know what I mean? You start back from minor leagues, and like Slim, you was just joking, but it's been a long time. He's seen it go from being newspaper reporting on the baseball game to radio, and then radio reporting to damn television reporting. Okay. And those is all different.
Vince Scully went to the internet. Vince Scully might be the last guy that went from print to the internet.
Yeah. He finally got a Twitter, I heard, like last year.
Yeah, he did get a Twitter last year. Yep. Yeah. I saw that.
He's the guy he's probably the last baseball voice to go from print newspaper only, where you got everything on the box scores, all the way to the internet. He's the last one, man. He's kind of like, and I say this, and I don't compare the two, but I harken it with Bo Jackson with kids. I've literally had kids tell me, I don't know, man.
They don't know.
I watched some of the I watched Bo Jackson highlights. That motherfucker only had 500 yards rushing. I'm like, bro, he's pre-internet. Do you understand what he was? And that's Vince Scully. Right. Vince Scully was back when it was, you just heard radio if you had it, newspaper, but somehow he got to the internet. Bo just never got the internet, but it's that same idea. He's that same icon. Like Vince Scully is bigger than that. But my point is, he's that same icon that there's a generation that doesn't respect it because they didn't live.
Because the little Polaroid, what do you call those things that you put in the projector? The projector,
the slides and all that.
Slides and all that.
Yeah. They didn't live through
out
that.
there.
Everything's internet to them now.
See, you and all of us know about the projector and the slides where you put in the machine and it flip back and forth. And you got to remember that Vince Scully was before all of that too, and seen 60 years of different fluctuations. So
that's why this day, like Vince Scully, I just listened to ESPN. I'm like, bro, that's different. That's why the Bo Jackson analogy is not 100% accurate. But my point is, it's pre-internet.
Yeah.
It's pre-internet.
Well, I think that
Scully,
how many people, young people, do you think would know like who some of the regional guys? Or do you think that anybody outside of New York knows who John Sterling is? Right.
Oh,
no. That shit's so annoying though.
We just went to my my father-in-law's. Would have been last weekend, his first birthday post death, and one of my nieces, God bless her, love her death. She's weird. She's one of those ones. Same thing. When I started to question somebody that she really liked, not as an athlete, but as somebody who was inspirational in her life. Well, I played up at Eastern Washington. I played football. Oh, well, he played up there too. She looked him up. I was like, well, what year did he play? She didn't even ask me when I played. She tried to look him up on Google. I was like, baby girl, I was 3 years before that. So these kids, my point is, if you can't find it on Google, if I can't Google it, it means nothing to me.
Right.
I'm going to sit here and talk to you. Like she literally tried to talk to me, and I'm trying to I apologize for getting off rant. But she tried to talk to me about what she knows, and she's one of those now that, if I know it and you don't know it, I'm better than you. If you disagree, I'm better than you.
Right.
But my point, getting back to Vince Scully, was with her. If I can't Google it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If it came before this person, it doesn't matter. I'm like, bro, Vince Scully's an icon. He goes way back. That's just a champion. Just a champion.
Everybody knows. Yep, everybody knows
it's
about
like Dave
Scully
Newhouse.
if you're a baseball
Dave
guy.
Newhouse. I grew up listening to Dave Newhouse.
Yeah, Newhouse.
All right, but look,
Newhouse.
What about would you put the Marty Brenneman I have to quit in the middle of the game thing when he got caught with the live mic or whatever, and the Nick Castellanos home run? It does that rank anywhere?
It ranks pretty high just because it's so rare.
That's gotta be right up there with Vince Scully.
Just because it's rare. It's so rare. Like you don't hear that shit.
No, and he really just rolled it off like it was in mid-sentence too, and he was.
I don't know if I'm gonna ever get paid again. That's a high flag. That's a home run. Nick Castellanos.
I'll never get a call a game again after today.
Jim Nance is gonna take you the rest of the way, guys, and that's a high.
I've just been relocated of my duties at the helm of the Cincinnati Reds broadcast right now.
Marty Brenneman is on his way back. He's on his way back.
As much as I love him, the sad part is, and he's an icon too. As much as I love him, Bob Costas is probably the last great announcer we're going to have. And he's not Vince Scully. He's a great announcer, but he's probably the last great sports announcer that can cross sports, cross generations.
It's not Jim Nance. It's not Jim Nance. I'm thinking it's Jim Nance.
You think so? I got Bob Costas up there, but they're both 1A, 1B. It doesn't, one you could go, but that's my point. Here's my point, big homie. They're not Vince Scully. That's my point. And that's why I say sad, because they're both great. When I say sad, I'm not knocking them. Yeah. But they're not Vince Scully. And they're going to be the last.
It's like the Jordan conversation. I'm not putting you down because you're not Michael Jordan. You just ain't Michael Jordan, right?
But you're going to go down as the last two greats, and you're not Vince Scully, and that's how big Vince Scully was.
What about Joe Buck? Joe Buck got a chance to.
He's not in the conversation.
Yeah.
Let's not ruin it. Let's not ruin a good thing that we got going on. Killed.
What did
the conversation?
I know.
Joe Buck took your old girlfriend or something. Why are you so pissed off?
I know Seahawks fans are way anti-Troy than Joe Buck. That's not my issue with it. I just don't think. I think Joe Buck's just done he's more international. He's not international, but he's done football, baseball. He's moved from channel to channel. Now he's doing. He and Troy doing Monday night now.
He doesn't like his job though.
He did baseball for a while. He did the Cardinals for a while and became national.
Yeah.
Vince Scully was just, and I know we got to end this, but
hey, the Raiders are on the board. Dan Carlson field goal, 32-yarder with 12:36 left to play in the first.
Live broadcasting. All right, fellas. Hey, appreciate everybody coming on, and hopefully y'all made it to the post-game report here, after hours party that we just had, because we talked about Vin Scully, R.I.P., and Bill Russell, R.I.P. Shout out to those guys, man. What a wonderful career. What a wonderful lifetime. Remember to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcast platform. Smash that like button on this YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter at Stick015 and follow this guy, Announce Big Homie at homie_anonymous.
Yes, sir.
Use the hashtag Sticks and Sports and talk some smack. Let us know how we're doing. And let's get involved. Let's get some questions out there. So, Aaron Barcott, thanks for joining us, brother. Go mow that fucking yard. And it's probably cooled off a little bit, so you're probably good out there. So it shouldn't be too bad.
Oh, yeah, we're all the way down to mid-80s, 86.
Oh, perfect. So you're good. So, Announce Big Homie, good to see you again. Too bad we didn't catch up last weekend. I know shit happens, and that's how it is. We'll have to make a plan and a trip here soon to figure something out. To catch up. So,
well, shit, I gotta drive that direction again pretty shortly for the annual. I want to spend some time with my grandmother shot. So I know it ain't nowhere close, but I'm going in that general direction fairly soon. So I don't know. Hey, you never know, coordinations and all of that. How many miles away is like Wenatchee from and Cleveland from?
Oh, if you come here, you're about 120 to Wenatchee, but you could also cut off early. So you could also cut off early Cleveland, which is only 90 minutes from us, and go up to Wenatchee. But you get to Wenatchee 2 hours from here.
Okay. All right, that's not too bad, because Chelan is a little bit of a drive to Wenatchee. So, well, I don't know, fellas. Hey, it's been a dream.
Hey, you just tell us when you're gonna be there. If Barcott ain't got no coaching going on the weekend, we might just have to roll up and grab a gazebo in the middle of nowhere and kick it in the log cabin or whatever. I'm down with that.
Oh, they got a casino at Lake Chelan, so I'm down.
Oh yeah, Lake Chelan. They have hotels there too.
They got a casino and hotel.
I didn't move around that much, but it's all kinds of stuff over there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lake Chelan,
we'll figure it out.
Vacation resort.
And it is popping this time of year.
Oh yeah,
it is.
All right, fellas.
Let's do it. Thanks for the show. We appreciate you all for listening, and we'll be back soon.
Go Mariners.